Oh, God. My work went and everything goes crazy. Just hold on. We wait for people to come. Um, um, yeah. So thank you guys for watching, and those who were sending us stars. I saw Nanama. I saw Nanama. I saw my brother Mark Saho. You know, Usman, and you know, I saw a lot of people. Thank you all for sending us stars. We appreciate. Like, it helps us to grow as a network. Oh, someone is just saying I lost credit. No, I did not. I didn't know. See, I work with Africa. I get a lot of credit. Now work more than. No, actually, no. It's So yes. So Mr. Mani. So well, let's.
I can barely hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Very faint.
Very faint.
Yes.
Because I know somebody's trying to call, but I was. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but it's very faint. Maybe just raise your voice a bit so they can.
All right. Hold on. Let me see.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So now what I wanted to ask, the other question that I wanted to ask is this. A lot of the people would say that we were talking about, sorry, I'm distracted. We were talking about how Sabally was doing, right? But when this unfortunate incident happened, that we all condemned the attack on the law enforcement agency, which we all condemned to the strongest term, and we all pray that justice happen very soon and the perpetrators are brought to justice so that victims can have a closure. But the first communication that came out from the government spokesperson, a lot of people thought was really very much directing to the UDP, because not directly, but when he spoke about the security officer being part of Chairman Dabo's protest in Banjul. He also spoke about him working at the Brikama Area Council. First, that was refuted. The issue of working at Brikama was refuted by the Brikama Area Council, and also even the was something that you guys thought. What was your observation first when you had the speak?
We thought that was extremely unfortunate and uncalled for. He is not a police official. And we had asked that everybody keep peace or have all the wrong things and all which are all falsehoods. In a way, it's good because it debunks exactly what was being planned against the UDP apparently. Okay. Because unless they were planning something against the UDP, why would the government spokesperson, without any shred of evidence, jump to conclusion conclusions and lay out all of those things which are totally false. That should not happen. Okay? Now, saying that this gentleman worked for PAC is another falsehood, which has been debunked by everybody, including the police officials, for which we commend them. We commend them for standing up for the truth and not going along the way that the government spokesperson was pointing them. Another thing, he said this gentleman was at the... So why is the government spokesperson going out of his way to accuse UDP even before the investigation started, even before they had any shred of evidence, and even without his conferring with the police? Because it's clear that he did not confer with the police, instead he was trying to direct their investigation. That is the conclusion that we can jump to as well. Because why otherwise would he be saying all of those things? He should stay out of this and let the police do their job. And want the police to continue to be professional, to be respected. And to be respected, you have to do your job properly and be seen. And be seen to do your job properly. That's extremely important. And so far, what we are seeing, we are happy with what the police is doing. They are doing their job professionally, and they are being seen to do it professionally. And that is the way to build the credibility of the police. And that's what we want to do, so that when they reach conclusions, everybody knows that, yes, this is the conclusion, because they are professional people doing the job professionally. That is the kind of reputation we want for our police services. That's the kind of reputation we want for our judiciary. That's the kind of reputation we want for everybody, every public official in this country. Not when they open their mouth, you start wondering, are they telling the truth or not? That does not serve anybody's cause. This country needs to be an ethical country, an ethical government, and ethical public officials. And we thank the police for their professionalism so far in these investigations. What we heard were what we expect from our police force. And we hope and pray that you continue that way. We do not wish to comment on it. We want to stay out of it. Let the police do its job as we know they are capable of doing. That is what we want to see. So the government spokesperson and any other person whom I want to be taking should just hold their peace and let the police do its job. Because whatever comes out of those investigations will go to court. And they will, whoever comes as a witness will be cross-examined in open court. So the police credibility should be safeguarded. Because it will be unfortunate to go to court with evidence that's prefabricated elsewhere, and the witnesses crumble in cross-examination, and the credibility of our institutions go out the drain. We do not want that. We want to entrench the credibility and the liability of our institutions, so that the Gambia is known as a law-abiding country, a country where you can count on the public officials to do the right thing. The police so far have been going down that lane, and we encourage them to continue doing that. That is what we want for this country. Because as Mr. Dabo said, we want to come to power, and when we do, in 2026, we will be working with the same police force, and we want to be able to have those cordial working relations with them, professionalism. That's what we want. So the politicians should stay out of the way of the policemen and all the security officials. Do not try to influence them. Let them do their job and do it clearly, openly, honestly, and in a trustworthy manner. That's what we want. So this is our take.
So
we support our police force and encourage them to do the right thing.
Now, finally, before I let you go, you guys are still at the police station in Kairaba. And as we speak, the information here is Sabally has not been formally charged. They brought the charge sheet, but because it was not signed, now they have gone back to consult.
Yes, they came with a charge sheet and they read the charge sheet to him and asked him if he wants to sign for that. And to accept it, he said no. Naturally, because they are not, he didn't do any of those things.
Yeah.
So they went back with the charge sheet and everything. They said they will get back to us. So as far as we are concerned, he's formally not charged yet. So we're waiting for them to decide one way or the other, whether to charge him or to drop the charges.
Okay.
The charges they want, they said they want to do.
It's already.
As far as we are concerned, there is no formal charges yet.
It's already 4:33, and I know in the next 1 hour or so.
The line is faint. I can hardly hear you there.
I said it's already 4:33 right now as I'm speaking to you, and then the 72 hours is about to clock out, to expire. You're expecting that they will be bailing him, either charged or not. He should be leaving today, because anytime he stays in that police station becomes a little is it unconstitutional, you call it, because after 72 hours, it's either you charge the person or you let them go, right? You take them to court and bail them, or you let them go, right? After 72 hours, right?
Yeah, Fatou, we are hoping that they will be released today.
Okay.
Because as I said, to start with, there is absolutely no reason for them to be sitting here for 4 days when they are not being interrogated anyway, when they are not having the police investigations, when they are not being feared to have an impact on maybe on witnesses, suborning to witnesses. That's not going to happen. And there is nothing being held against them. There's no charges have been profiled. Why do they have to sit here from Friday to now? The only time they were questioned was on Friday evening. And since then, nothing else has happened. They're just languishing in the cells here for no reason. That should not be happening in a democratic country where the rule of law is paramount.
Okay. Maybe.
You on Friday afternoon, they should have been allowed to go home. They have not. They spent Friday night here, Saturday night here, Sunday the whole day again. For 3 days they've been here. Today is the 4th day. They do not need to be here. We expect that they will be released and allowed to go home to their families, and if they are needed for questioning, they will come back here. They're going nowhere. These will have no flight risk to society. There are no risk of supporting purposes. So I don't know why they are being held here up to now.
Okay, we'll get back to you.
That they will be allowed to go home
today.
Because that is their constitutional right.
Yeah, we will get back to you later on. If you get any information, please let us know. We will be here in the next another 30 minutes, because I'll be talking to Nene. Nene is right now at the canifing also, so she'll be giving us updates. So here again, for the next 30 minutes, if there's anything that that's any update from there, please let us know.
I will get back to you on that. And on that note, I would want to say a big thank you to Nene.
Yeah.
She has been very strong and has been with our people.
Yeah.
From Friday to today, she's been here every single day.
Yeah, she has been.
And the UDP executive has been here.
Yeah.
Including the party. Everybody has been here.
Yeah.
And people have been supportive. So I want to say a big thank you to all of those people. And on a final note, I want to say a big thank you to the police officers in Kanifing and in Kairaba. They have been very professional, very polite, and they showed some decorum. Yeah. And we appreciate that. Yeah. If there's any changes, I will let you know further.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mane, for speaking to us.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Mr. Mane. And then we'll be talking to Nene also, because she is somebody is telling me my credit. No, it's not my credit. It was Nawek. This Ninyona. So when Nawek goes, the router, the Wi-Fi goes off. So we have to connect to the other. Yes, that's what happened actually. So yes, so I'm gonna call, and thank you all for Harriet and for sending stars. We really appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for sending us stars. Now let me call Nene now. Thank you, Harriet. Thank you so much for sending more stars. Let me call Nene now and see what is the update in Carnifing. Nene is in Carnifing. We definitely, from our team, Kirfatu, we really want to really thank Nene. She has been running to the police station to see Bio. Bio, is not a staff of Kirfatu, but he's a contributor to one of our shows. So because of that proximity, and Nene has been running up and down. But it's not just Bio. Even when Bora was held, we all know how she was running up and down at the police station. She was the one who even bailed Bora. Today I said to her, Nene, how are you going to bail Bio? You don't have ID card anymore. Your ID card is being kept for Bora. She said, yeah, actually, I don't have an ID card. The fact that she goes there, take food for them, and make sure everything is okay, we really want to thank her for that. And thank you so much, Harry Lamin Bojang, for the stars. We really appreciate you. Thank you, Lamin. We appreciate you. So my area, though, now it goes, few minutes, they come back. So they don't stay long. That's the good thing about, where I live. But no far. That's the good thing about it. So let me call. Actually, I don't live in Bunu Farokon. I don't. Yes, I don't. Let me call. Call Nene and see. Let me call her direct call Morgan. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for watching. I think if you go through stuff like this, somebody like Nene, if you go through stuff like this and you've been to police, you know how it is. You don't rest when people are in custody. And I called her this morning. I said, "How do you do this?" And she's like, I just do it. So yeah, she's been amazing. You know, Nene is just amazing when it comes to stuff like that. So her phone is. Let me call. She's with MC. Let me call MC. Thank you guys for watching. Hey, Usman, thank you for your stars. We appreciate. Hello, ano nene MC? Mungi waxa gaay ba tay? Cey nene. Naka ma laaj la yow bala nene di pare. Mangi live on Kër Fatou, right? Waaye dama ngi mel ni maa ngi dégg voice nene so suma la defee speaker dafa génn. Wow, because dinaa ko call in 2 minutes time. Yeah. So I know she's talking to some people. She's still sorting out that issue out there. You guys don't know the kind of magic Nene runs for us when things like this happen. I remember when Bora was kept, I was in the US, and then I was calling Nene up and down. She wakes up, take food for him, and stays there the whole time trying to talk to the police and go back, bring dinner and make arrangements, calling the police officers, trying. I don't know how she does this, but I guess it's the passion of an activist, somebody who also had been going through something like this. She understands the mindset of how when people are detained, what they go through. She's amazing when it comes to stuff like that. This morning I was talking to her about Sherrifo, and then I just checked on her. What is the situation? And she said, I think they will be bailed today. She said, I said, are you going to be able to bail him? He said, hi, man, it's more by. She was planning to bail him, forgetting that her ID card already was there for Bora, so she couldn't bail him. It was at that point we were thinking, what do we do? How can you arrange for his family to come and bail him? She is that selfless. But I think if you have gone through stuff like this yourself, there's nothing you can do but to just support people who are going through that also. So that is the update. Badingol aliya mo lamin mane be men fokan drong wolon ko Mamadou Sabally anin Sherrifo Baye Sonko mi dan ko yemuta hani saybe police station otole min ke kabiri yemuta arjuma lungo fo bi lo nyanta kala 3 days ti pour yebula. But according to Mr. Mane min fo wolom ye kayto dole natiye ka pour nyanta sign la itol ko womu charge it lati I haven't seen it but it could charge it long pour ya sign so but kabriya nati pour ya sign is itoli a read le itoli a feel like the new sign is consenting to whatever the authorities are putting to against them. So a man Sonko sign wala yama police owner that okay, we are going back to consult. But mind you, when the police were covering us, they were very respectful. They also told Sabally Munimala rights as to signing that document. Now after sign, now after can sign. So Sabally na lawyer ni told Mr. Manuel min baby je na ta Sabally akana sign. Sabally fana man Sonko sign. So police will ko e kamurune pour kata consult, and they will be coming back again. So B naturally 72 hours onyanta smuta sila bile. So korang tata kotek. Na wek dalka bil ni la tata kotek. So 72 hours so be elapsed la in bile. So hopefully nyanti blala le B. So we wole ko monitor kan ka jube so Mr. Mane wole fo so be patrola police will went back to Banjul because they are going to consult with their people and they will be back. So go patrol. So nene fanambe PIU le in Kanifing, Sherrifo Sonko be Ultrial and Kavri be Mute Baby Num Karabale. But in Nati Bondi Nyokoto, yes, Samba is Sherrifo Samba Kanifing, yes, Sabally to how do you call it? Kairaba. So this is what is Minekeda. So Mbole update di Kangala, So Sayan Kali Ajale, Kurang Tatakote. Now it is gone again. But thank God I have my curtains open and I'm not connected to the router at this point, so I should be able to be good. So this is what is happening. But hopefully, they will be bailed today. Maybe folk can hold on, right? Yes, Luale, Silo di Police or Fanana, ni after more question la. 72 hours less ago. Muta, Kapkele investigation, okay. Niko, imang Niko among investigation okay among investigation we give that to them. They are doing an investigation because law enforcement monkey security, so we don't know what they're looking for. It only allow the Njie, so Niko investigation, that's fine. So the law gives them up to 72 hours to do their investigations, and that is what's happening right now. But below 72 hours will be elapsed, so it's either Yeta. So Gola Batrola. Nene should be able to update us because she's been really into this. Kabrina Kumasta for B. I have a kuntung. So I tell fan and update. Fenda, I have to come to Biden la. Tonya. On and off. But Abuka me, Jambuka me, not at a few minutes, it will come back. That's the good thing. It still goes, but Abuka me, hopefully very soon. So that is what is happening right now. So we are hoping to hear from Nene, sign tema, and then we should be able to update and see. I'm told Sabally is and Sherrifo there. Actually, Sherrifo knew what I spoke to Sherrifo yesterday. Bio, very stubborn, very adamant, and very stubborn. He doesn't, he's not changed. He has not, been shaken. He's he told me, sister, and I kept on saying, Bio, you have to eat, and he's like, I'm not going to eat because I think he was more frustrated about condition of our detention, keeping him in cell. You can imagine I was kept in the cell for hours. It's dark in the cell, it's dirty, it's not, he was very disturbed, but like he didn't deserve that because he was just questioned. So, I think that's what drew him to how come the NPP supporter or officer who threatened to kill Sabally and Ramo isn't arrested? Well, that is the questions for the police, say Jose Dele. But I would like to have a lawyer, because I think these things are important. I don't know if Sergio is, I'm just seeing a statement from who. Let me see. Actually, Gambia for All just sent in a statement. Let me read. Gambia for All expresses concern. That is Bibi Dabo's party. They just sent in a statement. I'm going to read it for them right now and we'll publish it later. Gambia for All expresses concern at the implication of statements made by the government spokesperson on the recent tragic killing and the wounding of PIU personnel officers. Oh, okay. Go. Gambians are very good at confusing people. Ibrahim Aji Sankare, the Gambia government spokesperson on Coffee Time with Peter Gomez on the 14th September 2023. This could be the most consequential false statement coming from a government official, no less a cabinet-ranking government spokesperson, in relation to one of the most heinous crimes perpetrated against Gambian security forces. Wow. The Gambia for All party regards this incident of the 12th September that resulted in the death and injury of PIU officers as an extremely serious matter affecting our collective sense of security and a threat to our national security. GFA and the Gambian public expect the authorities to handle this matter professionally, fairly, maturely, and in accordance with the law of the country. These stakes couldn't be higher. However, the reaction of the authorities so far have been anything but reassuring. Regrettably, before the official police briefing, the Gambia government spokesperson went on the airwaves to proffer a narrative of the tragedy that is very much a variance with the limited information provided by the security authorities. In this regard, one is inclined to draw the conclusion that the government spokesperson's description of the shooting labeled as misinformation, if not outright fabrication. Wow. The government spoke in manner. He must of our country assume that we are, after all, the law of our country assume that we are all presumed innocent until proven guilty. If the accused individual is found to be the culprit, he should face the full force of the law. The responsible thing to do is to allow the security services thoroughly investigate the matter and justice take spokesperson. We are not surprised by the debacle, but the fact that he does not consider his position is now untenable. It is a worrying sign of lack of accountability. It is a worrying sign of the lack of accountability in the current administration. Long live the Gambia, GFA Communications, Manjai Kanife. What a strong statement from the Gambia for all. We will put the statement out, but it's we'll send it out for our team. People are raising concerns about the government spokesperson's statement, how he characterized and described the incident. Some of the things that he said came very different from what the police are reporting. So this is the statement from the Gambia for All party. So let me try Nana again because this is a very strong statement from Gambia for All. So, but we will just publish it right away, and so you can all read it on the page. Yeah, let me, Nene. Nene is so busy coordinating, so it's difficult to. Nene, are you available now? Nene. First, okay, Nene.
Yes.
First and foremost, before we even go to the conditions, where do you get all of this zeal, motivation, and to be everywhere whenever people are detained or they're how do you do this?
Well, I mean, honestly, Fatou, this is from a place of experience and dealing with such situations. Again, man, personally, anybody that knows me growing up, man, I have been immersed in the service of people since growing up in school and everything. My late grandmother used to tell me I'm a born leader. And people, I drive joy from people, my interaction with people, giving a helping hand, helping them and all that. That's where I drive joy. Man, I do not pose, these things, you go my friend, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, with my exposure going, learning to school and everything else, I have them to understand me. Nits rek moy dara ci aduna budu nit du dara. So and li olof de wax ne yermande ci diinel la di commencé. And nit ki boko xamé mu nekk ci bané nga nekk fa mom su nekk ci jafe-jafe war na la itel tamit. Man loolu noonu mooy suma gom-gom te loolu mooy suma dundin. And nekk naa si Gambien bi fii nii su dee all these things yi daal di jànkuwanteel jaar naa ci. Du benn yoon du ñaari yoon du ñetti yoon. Tànkaa jigéen tànkaa yaay. So conditions yi daal di go through ni man experience naa ko xam naa naka la mel. But aside of all that, man, I believe ne soo nekkee nit as a human being dafa am rights yoo xam ne force dafa jógee ci yàlla te loolu kenn amut right pour mu jël ko oo nangu ko ci yow so su nekkee ne loolu noonu yaa ngi ko amee keneen war ko jël si ñu man foog naa ne kenn pour sa noppi di seetaan loolu noonu ñëpp war nañoo taxaw ñu daxa ko ñu ñaawlu ko ñu masawu ko dégg la nit mutut nit daf cee tooñ nit su tooñee war nga ko wax ne tooñ nga nga try pour ñaanal ko jubanti ko pour mu dekk si yoon bu jub bi su nekkee ne tooñu tamit nga taxaw nga xeexaat moom pour gis ne aham ak yelleefam am na ko man ku ma xam ne parce que su ma de waaye dama dee moytu pour tooñ parce que man dama ragal jëkkat dama ragal gàcc te man du ma dee dimbale kenn koo xam ne dafa tooñ oo teguwut si yoon bu baax nit ki nag su tooñee sa man li ma believe mooy as a human being man dinaa la sympathize ak yow waaye du tax ne dama laa farlal si sa tooñ dinaa la wax digga su nekkee ne tooñuloo dinaa la xeex la pour nga gis ne si tooñ boobu noonu génn nga ci man loolu laa believe moo tax su nit ñi dee wane ok kii lu mu def baaxut waruloo ko taxawal I don't believe in that I don't believe in that sorry we have different opinions or different views in regards to the way life should be or in the regards to the way we should tackle these things you understand and when you're told in this is not the part but Sabally is a product boo xam ne we've gone way long way too long understand and bio dégg la politics moo tax ñu gën a miinante ba pare ñu bokk plateforme boo xam ne we're both panelists so am na lu nekk suma diggante ñoom te seen jafe-jafe dafa war a nekk suma boss aw ma doole pour génnee leen ci liñ nekk waaye pour ñëw rek ñu gis ma li ma leen mun a masawu dalal seen xel su dee ne loolu dina def dara si ñoom man I will do everything possible to do that you know that and this is it nothing else but I don't know
the reason why I say this because so this manko put out because man I know Duli from the Aisha Fati case to the Fadjan cases to Bora Bimneke Binkotie actually Mangowa guy. This morning Bimala call Manela buy your soccer bills. I'm gonna even fatenani suma ID card be more bomla bill Bora. I'm to my ID card. Yeah, I'm going to keep document because you use your documents to bail people and all the stuff, but not just that. You are always there. I remember Bora Suba Ngon Betek Bayo Demba every single time. I was speaking to you around 7 because this is the first hot meal. This is the first hot meal he's going to eat, so I have to take him food and all the stuff. So, and I sat here and I was thinking, people, you wouldn't want this, but sometimes I think it's just good to recognize Mustamane just Balangano, how you have been running from these two police stations, the police and I think I was telling them before you come, sometimes it's from the fact that you went through this yourself one time, so you know the conditions and all of that stuff. But yeah, what is the situation in Carnifing right now?
Right now, man what this is man dama feel ne dara du xew tey. Dama study the situation. I've come to the conclusion ne nothing is going to happen today. I want to believe ne they're going to spend another night. I might be wrong, you understand, but man lula won't like to say things right now. Because at the end of the day, I was hoping that today is Monday, it's the expiration of the 72 period, which I am of the view ne it's been abused, even though it's law, but this law is being abused because repeatedly we see these things happen, and then what comes out of it? Nothing. Just because you have power, you restrict somebody, you hold them because it's within the confine of the law, and then what happens? And you know what? I've been going back and forth, like Bora, once within a statement and everything else. You hear for the being correctly say, and after all, what would I can be doing dara amundara? So what's the need of holding somebody for those many hours? Again with Sabally, then apart from Friday and Sonko, apart from Friday, it's only today that you have officers come to talk to them again, and that was in regards to the charge and the bail, which they have categorically denied and say we're not going to be part of this, So what happened during all these nights that they spent into detention, day and night, and nothing has happened? So when you say, okay, we're holding somebody for the sake of investigations are going on, then there should be engagement throughout that period that you feel that you don't want to let them go and then you need them and you have to wait for them. Or if you let them go within that time, something will happen that will jeopardize, the investigations or hinder certain things to happen. That's my layman understanding of that, period. But every day to report and go. And the trend, it has happened to Madi Jubahatis, the Fajak, the Bora, myself, and 3 cases, 3 arrests, different arrests, 4 days, 3 days, 1 day, or whatever. Nothing has happened until today. You know what I mean? Because and one man, for example, my case, every time I get arrested, I sue them. And I sue them and I get a judgment against them. The court declared it was unconstitutional and my rights are violated. And they will go ahead and arrest me as a content. And they did that at that time. And still now, nothing has come out of it. So, who make any man believe in the court says that maybe, the sanctity of the court has been compromised. I don't know. I don't know. We seem to be in a jungle that, we believe that the courts are the highest arbiter and that's our last resort. But when the courts decide, nothing comes out of it, especially when it goes against the people that are in power. So what happens right now? We are here. Nyang just bailed how many hours ago? This was around 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, is after 4 o'clock. So from fee to Palinele, nothing has happened. And you don't even know who to talk to. All they say, okay, we're going to consult, we're coming back, and that's it. Nobody has come back. So I don't know what their fate is. Possibly they're going to spend another night. I don't know. I could be wrong. Because it's still, I don't know what's the time now, 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock.
It's 5 o'clock right now. It's 5.
Yeah, so hanging people at 12 midnight, they will be let to go. I don't know, because right now there is no way they can be taken to court. The courts are closed. So taking them to court today is out of the picture. So possibly maybe they will take them to court tomorrow, or they will release them on bail and continue the investigation. I really don't know. And the bottom line is you don't even know who is in charge. That's another concern. You don't know who is in charge that you're going to go talk to. Because Kowa has a different story and everybody's trying to run away from responsibility. That's my own analysis of things. It's concerning.
So if you say you are not assured, you don't even know if they will go home tonight, that means 72 hours be elapsed now. What happens? Let the lawyers tell us what happens today. 72 hours elapsed now, and then nit ki ñu ngi nekk detention already. Ba tey kooku dafa mel ni dañ violate right?
Oh, obviously. Again, let me take reference to myself.
Yeah.
Because I was detained 4 days. 4 days, and 4 days is a day after the 72 hours. Because 72 hours is 3 days.
Yeah.
So if you detain somebody for 4 full days, that is way beyond the 72 hours, which means regardless of what crime the person has committed, you the state that is supposed to upheld the rule of the law, you have been seen to be violating, that law. You have been violating somebody's rights, constitutional rights, by detaining them beyond the 72 hours and not taking them to court. So I will not be surprised if the same thing is repeated on other people, because that happened to me. And what has happened? What came out of it? Nothing. Even though the court has declared that you have done something wrong on a person, and the court has gone ahead to find the state and say, you need to compensate this person for doing something wrong, but they haven't abided by it. Still today, they haven't abided by that court judgment. So I will not be surprised if the same thing is repeated on this person or on other people. So it's a trend that it seems like nobody can do anything about it. So that's why I am like, precedent has been set, and I'm sure it's not only me, before me, and after me. So I will not be surprised if the same thing happens to them, because it happened to me, and I'm sure it happened to other people that I may not know. So that is why my concern, and I am raising the concern, it's a possibility it could happen. Because it's not anything that they are very, very particular and careful of not doing. It doesn't look like anything to them, to me, if you ask me. It's like they can do it, and it's okay. So if they can do it and nothing, there are no consequences, I would think that they would do it at any point in time that they feel it suits them, or it protects their interest, or the interest of the people seemingly to be behind these things or have an interest in this.
Interesting. I don't even know what to say. How is Bio doing? I was not even worried about him, but give us an idea. How is he doing?
At the time I left, he was really in good spirit. He's now calmed down and come to terms with the realities that this is what it is, and I have to be with my right frame of mind to deal with this and be able to face it. I mean, the last time, after they came and did the charge thing and everything, the came, they claimed to be from the serious investigative unit. Serious investigative unit. I want to believe. I stand to be corrected. But what they came there for to say they wanted to profile him, take his profile. But he said categorically, I don't have time to talk to you guys because if you arrest me and if you call me for questioning and detain me for 4 days, 4 days today, and you have not done that all this time, I will not talk to you at this point in time. You should have known who, because this was like, you should have known who you were doing for. This should have been during this time, not now. So they was like, oh, okay, you have a right to talk to us, and you have a right not to talk to us. So they left.
So this was after the bail incident happened, right?
Yeah, after they did the bail thing and everything else, they left. That's when somebody else, another couple of guys came and said they wanted to profile him. So, but he declined to talk to them. So basically, they left. So since those people left, nobody else had come there. Nobody else had spoken to him, and he's just out there in the cell.
And then he's kept in the cell, right? Because I think that was what really prompted him going into hunger strike. Tell us about that. He is still in the cell.
Actually, what happened is on Friday when I came here, because they were in the CID's office doing all the interrogation and the cautionary statements taken. So when they were going, I was talking to the officers. They, like, okay, can you tell me what's happening? Whatever they say, okay, they're doing the investigation. So afterwards, they like, okay, they need to go and consult and all that. Okay, it was Sabally first that when they finished with Sabally, they took Sabally to the charge office. So when they took him to the charge office, they put him in the detention area. So when they put him, and I questioned that and all that, they said, no, they're being detained, they're not arrested or whatever. I said, no, but the thing was, you're calling them for questioning. They said, yes, but it's procedures, so they're not done, so they will put him under detention. Now they went to Bio. When they were done with Bio, back and forth. So now I guess they got the directive that Bio should be transferred. Because again, people were coming and the place was getting crowded. Everybody was coming around. They took Bio. So I personally asked, okay, where you taking him? So they told me they're taking him to Carnifin police station. That's on Jimpex School, So when they were taking Bio, I personally said, okay, you know what? One thing I want to plead, since it's for questioning, now they're being detained. Can they not be put inside the cell? They said, no, detention is just detained within the premises or whatever. And one thing the guys were like, okay, all your rights will be protected. You'll be allowed to call to your family. You'll be allowed to food. You'll be allowed to visit and everything else. So they took back. So that night when I went there, after when it was late, because already they had put everybody inside the cell. So when the officer came and told Bayer to get into the cell, and Bayer is like, no. This is not what I was told. I was told I'll be put on detention or whatever. And the officer was like, well, I am the one in charge here and nobody stays here. Everybody gets inside the cell. And I was like, no, but this is not what I was told. And the guy was like, well, that is beyond my control. If you want that, go talk to the police PR. By the police PR where is like at the headquarters. Can you imagine at that point in time, where are you going to find a police PR to talk to? So I was angry, but he just went into the cell and slept there. So the next morning when I went, the same officer that was doing the questioning, I called him and said, okay, I am not happy. He said, why? I said, because this is what you guys promised my brothers, but apparently the contrary happened. So he said, oh, okay, I'm sorry, this is not, I said it in your presence, this is not what we're going to do, and blah, but it's like, for me, I'm not at a police station, we're not police officers, but they were handed over to police officers because they were in charge. But I told the person who was there at the time, but I said, no, the person you told closed and went home. And it's like, possibly that person did not brief the other person that took off. I was like, okay, that's a day for. So hopefully today that would not happen. But that did not change anything else. Every day, in the morning they open in the detention area, but at night they all get into the cell like anybody else that is being detained there. Which also was a concern for me. But again, like I said, when you talk to this one, they say, well, we're just custodians. We don't have powers, or we're not handling the case. When you talk to the other people, they will say, oh, no, we told them, but if we're not there, they do what they want. That kind of a scenario. That's why I say it's difficult to even know who is in charge and who should you talk to in regards to what is happening.
So as we speak, they're putting them in the cell, and and since Friday, they have not been questioned just until today, this afternoon, when they brought in the charge sheet, right?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that really bothers me, and I've been saying it, criminals, the law needs to take its course on anybody that is found wanting, right? Anybody that breaks the law. But again, as human beings, wherever we find ourselves, whether in these police cells or whatever, for me, it's a concern. But somebody can die in this cell, if you put them there, somebody can die in there within 3 hours. Yeah. Because the place is filthy, it's hot, it's dark, it's funky, I mean, it's for me, it's a cause for concern. I don't care what you have done, but you should be avail basic things. I'm not saying throw a party for somebody who is detained or somebody who's charged. I'm not saying make a barbecue for them. I'm not saying bring them a bed or an AC, but let the place be conducive enough that they can breathe fresh air that will not, by the time they leave this cell, they will not be battling with other health issues that will warrant them to have to pay exorbitant amounts of money to take care of themselves. Some people are being detained wrongly on false charges. So why should I be detained on false charges? Then at the end of the day, you realize it was false, you allow me to go, then I go deal with my health because you put me under a situation, a current, an atmosphere that was so unconducive. This needs to be looked into. I've been talking about this ever since, Yeah. I have been detained for 4 freaking days, and I know what the condition is like, and I've been talking about that. So nobody deserves to be under such conditions. Honestly, nobody deserves to be under such condition. I don't care what you have done. I don't care who you are. The law needs to do its course, but your environment also needs to look like a human being friendly environment. That's my concern.
Wow, interesting. I just hope so. What is so now? I know Bori Ture is representing these people. Are they filing anything just to get them bail out? Because if the police are not bringing charges, they know the same. But I mean, again, the courts are closed right now, right?
Oh yeah. Right now it's after 4. Office time is it's beyond office time, so nobody can go to court right now. I understand Rui was in Banjul, but again, back and forth, in and out, and he's not been able to get anything concrete. They told him that they were working on things and they will get back to him. But the reason why I think nothing is going to happen today, because they've been like, we'll get back to you, it's past office hours. Would anything happen right now?
But they could just come and bail them and release them without taking to.
That's a possibility.
That is possibility.
That's why I said. Why I said it's a possibility. But then I don't know. I'm an optimistic person. I mean, until midnight, anything can happen. A minute after midnight, that will be Tuesday. So that's why I'm saying until midnight. So hopefully before midnight, they will be asked to bring sorties and be let to go home. I hope that happens.
What does this mean for our democracy? I know I have said this openly. Nobody is above the law. If the police security officers feel somebody they want to question somebody and ask them questions, they are within the purview of the law to do that, and that is something that nobody should question. I mean, I think sometimes it's the way they do it. But again, if it's 72 hours, that person also have rights. They have rights. In as much as the police have rights to do this, to carry their functions, people also have their rights as to human beings, right? That is why the Constitution was made and made provisions for everybody, for us to be able to coexist. Now, if these are some of the things that the people fought for to have a new Gambia. If we're seeing something like this, are you worried as an activist, somebody who fights for people's rights? Are you worried?
Oh, I am super worried, Fatou. I am super worried. For me, honestly, this breaks my heart that, okay, fast forward to why we are all here. 2 young lives have been lost. For me, I would have really been happy now to be advocating for the police to do their job and find us who this shooter is, who took these young lives. That's what everybody should have been advocating for and fighting and anticipating to know who this heinous individual is, right? But the whole dimension has now shifted. I mean, we are so divided. And I feel it's a lost opportunity that, for arrested, is the one. Some people are saying he's not the one. So basically, it's like, you understand, can have a negative feature, you know. It's really sad and it breaks my heart. And it's like there's no direction right now. There's no direction. I'm not interest. I'm not an interest. You know, man, as a person, my interest is Gambia, Project Gambia. Anything that is going to maintain and protect the peace and security of the country. That is what my interest is. Man, I think arresting the Sabally and the bio is a distraction from the main issue, the main cause, the main thing that we should have been advocating for. Because there is nothing more important than looking for who did this heinous crime. And it was too early. Let's give the benefit of the doubt that what they did or what they said is in connection to the killing, the shooting that has happened. But it was really, really too soon to have made the determination and to make those arrests for question. You know, because you're not even done with the main suspect, right?
Yeah.
And there's so many allegations coming out from what is happening in that investigation room or where this person is sitting. And the entire time, and nobody can certainly tell you that this is the direction we are going with this investigation. And then you add another thing that is arresting other people and having to deal with their lawyers, with their families. Do our security force have the capacity, the resources, the know-how, the intellect, you know, and the skills to deal with these things concurrently?
Mm-hmm.
You know, do they? I mean, I question that because if they did, they wouldn't be distracted from the main issue and things would have been done and nobody would be so disgruntled and everybody, you know, spending hours juggling from one police station to another. Because it would have been a one-stop shop a place of information. And everybody would be served with the same exact information and there wouldn't be rumors trending from all corners. So we have an issue that needs to be tackled. There is a cause for concern and everybody should be worried. Everybody should be worried. You know, I was talking to my son last night, you know, about this whole thing because he is he has a very curious mind and he asks questions, you know. Again, it's out of concern for the mom. He knows where the mom's heart is. He knows what the mom does. But he comes and asks questions. Yeah. So he was like, okay, because some people are saying the person that has been arrested may not be the person who's responsible. Now he asked the question, Mom, so how about if that is true and the main shooter is out there roaming the street with guns? Does that mean we are all not safe then? Yeah. That's a 14-year-old boy asking me that question.
Yeah, actually, I said that on my show. My boy, now when this happened, you want to talk to kids just to let them know. And in the morning, when we woke up, he was going to school on Monday, and I just hugged him and I said, "Hey, when you go to school, just make sure you don't go out to play today, okay? Because you know before they even caught this guy, I said, you know, there was a shooting and two police officers were killed." And I could see the expression in his face. Whenever you tell him for him to go back to the US, the only thing he tells you, Mom, I don't want to go because, you know, they kill people in America. I just want to stay here. That's the mindset he has, right? And he said to me, what, Mommy? Where did they get the gun? Because I don't think people have gun in Gambia. And he was scared from that moment. He didn't want to go to school. I said, no, everything is in place. Just make sure you don't go back. When he came back from school, he didn't go play. And at the end of the day, when it was time to go to bed, he refused to go to his room. He said, Mommy, I'm scared. I don't want to sleep in my room because, you know, the shooter is out there. So these are things that are very scary. We're not used to stuff like this. Like, it's not that much common. So I think, like you said, this should be a time for the government to assure Gambians, to have proper communication as to assure Gambians of our safety, to assure Gambians as to what the government will continue to do to secure every life and property, and also to unify, because this is one single thing that really unified the entire country. Everybody knew that it was wrong, it was barbaric, it's something that is not accepted in our society. And people, we don't know it, and people were sympathizing with the police. I mean, you know, people don't really naturally have a good relationship with the police. But what I saw is this, everybody was saying, even me, that I don't praise the IGP, but I said at this point, this is the time to stand with the IGP and the government police force, and we sympathize with them and give them our solidarity and support because they need it. So I think, like you said, a lot of people also believe, to be honest, it looks like a distraction. We should be concentrating on this case to find the perpetrators, assure the victim's family, but also assure the entire Gambian how government is doing everything possible to make sure our lives and properties are safe. Now, what we don't understand, like, this is what I am going through with my son, this is what you are going through with your son, but this is what everyone is going through at home, telling their kids, assuring them. Now, if we are doing at parental level, we're doing it at home, our main institution, the government, should also be doing this to us, assuring us that, don't worry, I know this is bad, this is painful, but we will be fine. This is what we're doing, just to assure, carry us all along. So I think, yes, if Sabally and Sonko have done something and they need to be questioned, I think they should be, but I think the hype should not be more about those people, and we get lost on this, really what is happening. So I think, it looks like a lost opportunity to bring us together as a nation and mourn the departed souls, but also show solidarity to the police, and heal as a nation, because this is not just the victims. We are all indirectly affected in this, and we are worried for our safety, for the safety of our kids. So I think the police, could have used this opportunity to bring the population together, and hey, but well, people have different strategies, and they deal with things differently. Yes, but yeah, but so where are you right now? You are at another police station?
I was at Canada. I left. I'm trying to rush home to join a meeting, so I'm trying to get back home. I'm in the car going home right now. I left Canada police station as well, so I'm on my way going home.
Okay, we'll get updated. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, before the end of this program, we will get updates as to what is happening. So what is happening?
Definitely. Yeah. Continue to hope for the best. And hopefully, this too. I believe these are moments, but it will come to pass. But again, these are moments that we don't want to get back to at any point in time. So the sooner we deal with it and get over with it, the better for all of us as a nation, honestly. The better for us. I mean, I sit and wonder, what is the police force in its entirety dealing with? Because I'm not sure they've dealt with such ever, that their men have been gone down, in the service of their duties on the road or wherever. It must be hard for them, but then no matter what, also they need to know how to deal with this, and not then allow the politicians to just overshadow the whole thing and take charge, because that's what happened. And I believe that that's where the mistakes happen, and that's why we are where we are. Because if they had taken charge as they needed to, and know that this is their own shoe, they need to be the leader, they need to take charge, and everybody follows suit, I don't think we would have been where we are. They dropped the ball on that part one, and I just hope they will make it better as we go forward, because this has not even started, much more ended. We still, there's so many gray areas. We still don't know the direction where we're going to go with all this whole case in regards to the fallen soldiers and the one in the hospital, their families, their friends, their associates, and the nation as a whole. These are officers in uniform. They were not in their houses when this happened. They were in uniform on the road on duty. So this is a Gambian, issue. This is a Gambian tragedy, and everybody has a stake in this. And we cannot get past it if we are divided. And we're not divided on anything but on political life. Yeah. Like, seriously, it's sad. It's sad.
It is sad, and it's important for them to understand. I've always said that the Gambia is not made of just two political parties. The Gambia is made of so many political parties and independent people also. Sometimes there should be those considerations, but it's so unfortunate sometimes how we go through this. Yeah, but. Hopefully, we'll get some updates before the end of the day. We'll get in touch. And once again, thank you so much for everything. We appreciate the efforts you're doing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And that was Nene Frida Gomez. We want to thank her, like I said. Babukar Sise, thank you for sending us stars. We appreciate you. So this is the update. I don't know if I can do any more of this. Nana is not optimistic as to whether they will be. She's not as sure if they will be let go today because the courts are closed right now. Um, what happens now? I don't know if they are not charged right now. They are not charged. The consulting is if they're going to leave them, it's going to be just bail them, let them go, and maybe charge them tomorrow, or keep them till tomorrow, maybe charge them. I don't know what it is. What is it going to be? We don't know. Njie said we are not divided on political lines because of politicians' ideas and programs. We are divided on personalities. You might be right as well. You might be right. You might be right. But I think at this point in time, the entire nation is grieving. The entire nation is worried. We're all concerned about what happened to the foreign soldiers. So I think that is something that we can all come together as a people and sympathize and seek for justice for these fallen police officers who swore to protect us whilst we're sleeping. So I think that is one thing that every Gambian believed in, and I think that is one thing that every Gambian, showed when this thing happened. So I think if there's anything that we were united on is the fact that this act that took place was wrong, and is uncalled for, and is unacceptable, and just we deserve justice for the victims. So I think that is one thing that every Gambian were united on. So I think it would have been a great opportunity as a nation to heal together and also have a national dialogue on these issues. Because at the end of the day, it is important for us to come together as a people and have these kind of conversations. But I think, just like Nana said, I think a lot of people also believe that this arrest is like more of a distraction to the main issue because these people are politicians. So when you arrest them, people tend to think is being politicized, even if it is not. That's what is going to be, people are going to be thinking. And then those politicians, their supporters are also making their own about issues from the other end. And then when that happens, what happens is this, the entire distraction is taken away from the main. You look at the coverages that are happening, it's more of what is happening to those politicians more than what really happened in the incident. So I think these are things also communication wise people should learn from. But again, people have different ways of communicating. And I think it's important that people, we also bring this out. When things like this happen, we also have to be able to come out and speak up and tell our people what is happening and what needs to be said. So I'm glad that the police did their briefing and briefed us, but since then we have not had anything. So Sadio, I think I need to call you. Can I call you, Sadio? I think I need to call you. Because I wanted some clarifications on certain things. I'm gonna call the lawyer, Sadio. This one I can call, and I don't even need to take permission. If you are not in court or if you are not in office, I should be able to call you. Let me check, because I just need clarification um, on something, because these things are important. Nyang, let me call Nyang quickly before I call Sajo. I'm going to call Nyang because these things are. Sajo, I will call you. Let me know before I get to Nyang whether I should be able to call you. And again, thank you very much for sending us stars, Yunus Haidara and others. Let me know. Thank you so much for sending us stars. We appreciate your support. I've always said that stars bring us money. So if you send us stars, uh, you're directly sending us money. So thank you very much for sending us stars. Hey, Nyang.
Good afternoon.
Nyang, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Fatou. The last word you said, I think, is the missing link. This is a national tragedy, and the last time it happened was in the 80s with the late Ekumahoni, when he was shot by Mustafa Danso. Ekumahoni was a field force officer at Bakau.
Wow.
And he was killed by a civilian called Mustafa Danso. not the first time it happened in the Gambia. So it's not a first. I think people.
Yeah, I think people like us who didn't know because when were we born, right?
But
so it was
it's
full.
not about age, it's about history. I was about 8-9 years old.
I was about, I don't want to say how old I was, but I didn't know. Sorry. Yeah.
So basically,
yeah,
what the Gambia needs right now is healing. And the healing we need cannot come from anywhere else but the leadership of the country. This is about Gambia. It's not about politics. It's not about tribes. It's not about social or economic orientation. It's all about national pride, national sacrifice, because those police officers sacrificed their lives in the interest of the greater good of society. So their legacy will be flouted if we take the wrong step in terms of trying to find a resolution to this matter.
yeah,
I urge the police to do one thing and one thing alone. Let justice guide their actions. And in so doing, they need to respect the rule of law. And respecting the rule of law is making sure that we don't abuse the judicial process. What do I mean by abusing the judicial process? If you arrest someone on a Friday, knowing that you're not going to do any investigation Saturday or Sunday, it would have been prudent, fair, to wait till Monday and arrest them. And yes, the state has the right to arrest anybody at any time, provided that there is articulable, reasonable suspicion to go after a citizen. But equally, we have a constitution that guarantees us rights. We are guaranteed rights by our constitution, and that's what makes us a sovereign people. And these rights should be respected first and foremost by the people who enforce laws. And those are the police officers of the state. And keeping someone over 72 hours without giving them a speedy hearing, a speedy access to a trial, defeats the purpose of a democratic dispensation. So this is not the first time, like Nene said, and the problem is the culture, the public service culture of this country. It has been happening during Jame days, and guess what? It became the norm, not the exception. And this should be the exception and not the norm. Only under very, very, strange circumstances that people should be kept, over 72 hours. But we should always make sure that the rule of law is respected so that people will see equity and fairness. Because if you look at the scales of justice, it's blindfolded. And that means justice is neutral, number one. And if you look at the scales of justice, it's balance. And that balance must always be adhered to. And that's the responsibility of the law enforcement officers, i.e. the police, the paramilitary, whoever is having access to private citizens and denying them their rights. Yes.
Yeah. So regarding the now we know that it's going to be 72 hours since these people, I know you and I are not lawyers, but the general perception is after 72 hours they're either charged, bailed, or let go, right? It's already 72 hours because they were invited around 4:30. It's already 5:30. And we have been told they came earlier on and brought in some charge sheets and did advise Sabally and Bio that these are things that, they wanted them to sign. And their lawyers were advised against signing that document because to them, they believe is consenting to what they did. And they told them we're going and coming back. And they still have not returned, meaning they don't know because the courts are closed right now. So if they're going to take them to court, that is not possible today, meaning they might sleep another night at the police stations. And 72 hours have already clocked out. As a basic
perception, Fatou. That's a reality, and that reality is entrenched in our constitution. It's a constitutional provision.
Yeah, yeah.
And a constitution is as sacred as the Bible or the Quran. It is the guiding document that guides how the Gambia acts, how we live together harmoniously in a society, and how we should conduct our businesses.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the lacking tool here is what you call M&E, monitoring and evaluation. There is no institution in this country that monitors and evaluates what the police does. What do I mean by that? You have what you call key performance indicators. If there was a department that will look at all the arrests that were made by the police for a period and see whether the police are in, they're in order as it relates to the provision. If not, what they need to do is find ways and means to make sure that the police are in order to make sure that people are not kept over and beyond what the Constitution says. Because if we don't respect our Constitution, we might as well say that we don't respect our statehood. Because the Constitution is what guarantees our statehood. And right now, anyone who flouts what the Constitution says is in effect flouting the ideals of what makes us a people called the Gambia or Gambians.
Yeah. So, and I want to public government officials are the biggest peddler of fake news. You have said this several times. I remember when we were doing Fatou together, and you keep saying this, and I think you and Madi Jobate have always said this. But I wanted to bring your attention to the thing, because the reason why I'm bringing this up, I just saw the statement by the statement by Gambia for All condemning Sankare's interview, and they came up with a very strong statement. I don't think even UDP statement was this strong. They called him out, and they were very strong, and the wordings are really strong as to what Sankara said on Coffee Time. Number one, when Sankara came, when he brought the linkage between the alleged the killer to Brikama, working at Brikama Area Council, which was debunked by the council, and also saying he was at the UDP rally, which turned out the picture that was being circulated allegedly is Chairman Dabo's security detail. And then the UDP already started saying, you see, they're trying to link us to this. But again, for even the government spokesperson to say that, and then the national security advisor to say, no, this guy works for a local government, that miscommunication between the two organs, government spokesperson saying this, and then the national security advisor saying a different thing, and it coming out to be that honestly the guy was not working at Brikama Area Council. How would you explain stuff like that in a tragic situation like this?
Well, first, I think we need to separate Mr. Sankare, the individual, and the government spokesperson.
But he was speaking on his behalf as government spokesperson.
I'm coming there.
Okay.
So Mr. Sankare, the individual, can be opinionated, and he can make inferences based on what he believes. That's his personal prerogative. But when he stands at the podium talking or on any show, he is no longer a private citizen. He is talking as an official person whose responsibility is to brief people on behalf of what the state says. And if that is the case, he should have been briefed by security personnel. So what he has said, maybe it was a faulty intel. What do I mean by faulty intel?
Yeah.
He must have been briefed.
He must have been briefed. That's what I said, yes.
So whoever briefed him, briefed him wrongly. So for me, I believe as we go on, we learn. And when we learn, we should try not to repeat the same thing, because if you do the same thing every day and expect a different result, mind you, something is fundamentally wrong with you. And this is not the first, it's not the second, it's not the third. Then it means something is wrong with our communication systems internally as a state. Is the security talking to different organizations within the system, i.e. government? If the answer is yes, then something is wrong with the intel. If the answer is no, is the spokesperson just talking based on his opinion? And from the look of things, there has been a lot of inconsistencies and divergence from what he said and the press conference delivered by the Deputy Inspector General of Police and some of the sister institutions. I therefore believe, once again, this is a criminal matter. The people who should take charge and bear the lead are the Inspector General of Police. Government spokesperson can talk about many and a whole lot of things, but this is not one thing he can talk about. And that's why in places like America, you have security clearance. And with a security clearance, you can be briefed adequately in terms of what happened, so that when you go out to talk to the public, they will believe you. Right now, we have a crisis of confidence. And this crisis of confidence, the government may be working too hard to tell us the truth and nothing but the truth. But because of these incidences, whatever they do and whatever they say, we take it with a pinch of salt. And that is not good, because we must have trust and faith in the system, in the government, and in the officials that deliver messages on behalf of the government.
Now, going forward, what should be the way forward? Number one, in assuring people that right information will be given, and also assuring the Gambian people, like you said, this only happened when some, let's say half of the population were not even born, right? So, a lot of people are scared, people are worried, people are concerned. What kind of communication do you think government should be doing going forward?
Well, there's two issues here. There is a procedural problem and there is a security problem. On the security problem, I'm not worried, I'm not bothered. For me, this was an isolated incident, not a systemic problem. We don't have a systemic security problem. I'm sorry, a lot of people may disagree, but in terms of murder, killings, I'm not talking about, crimes, theft and other things, but in terms of killings, especially with killing uniformed men, we don't have a systemic problem. This was more like a random act of violence against men in uniform, men and women in uniform. What do we need to do? First, we need to further protect the people we put out there, because times have surely changed. If you understand Gambia, police started with batons, just a wooden stick. Then they moved to their AK-47s. I think we need to arm them better. AK-47 is not a policing weapon. That's the first thing we need to understand. They need pistols. They need body armor. They need helmets. They need proper lighting, especially people who are put out in checkpoints. I've seen recently that the police are doing a good job giving their men good reflective uniforms at night. That's good for public safety. But public safety goes beyond identifying the policeman that stands at the checkpoint, but adequately giving that police officer enough resources to execute the duties and functions that they are prescribed to do. But equally, I think at the same time, Gambia, to an extent, suffered from police brutality. And police brutality, to me, is always, responded with vigilante justice, mob justice. If people are aggrieved and not much is being done to find a resolution, people will opt for different means to find redress for their problem. So what we need is, if police officers are found wanting, I'm not even talking about murder because that's too extreme, but just physical violence, the law must take its course. And I know of several incidents that have happened in the past, and as general public, we didn't know what the resolution was or the final conclusion. Remember those police paramilitary officers that were recorded tear gassing people?
I just saw the video. That's what I wanted to bring to your attention. I just saw the video now on Facebook.
That's one incident that the public didn't know the outcome.
Yeah.
There is other video circulating long time ago at Brikama Area Council, in Brikama, when there was a riot and this police officer was beating the hell out of some people. We have seen videos around Afrisal where people were beaten immediately after the elections.
Yes.
So it's the duty of the police to show to the public that we have find these people wanting, or we have at least done something, and here are the final outcomes. And once that is done, there will be confidence. And that's why I said we have a crisis of confidence. So if we resolve that, I think the trust will increase and Gambia will be in a better position. But right now, we need leadership, and the leadership we need is to bring Gambians together, because what's happening is not something we know. What's happening is un-Gambian, and what's happening needs a resolution. And the resolution goes beyond finding the killer or / killers. The resolution is making sure we move towards a just and equitable society as it relates to policing, law enforcement, and judicial dispensation.
Nyang, I want to come to something that you touch on, very important, very important. As I scrolled through my phone, on the other phone, I saw a video that's posted by somebody where the police officers were celebrating when they tear gas members of the opposition, and it was gone viral. And I remembered when that video came out, the police command put out a statement on their page and said they have invited these police officers, they have put them on leave, and they will update the public on what happened, right? And this was commended by the party and everybody to say at least the police are doing the right thing. Now, nobody was updated on the status of those police officers, whether they were prosecuted, whether they were sacked, whether they were suspended, whatever happens. The statement just came and nothing happened. Nobody knew. And there were also incidences where even the Yankuba Dabo case, tear gas was thrown. I don't know what really led to that, but that happened. And I think that was even the reason why, when the citizens feel at some point that somebody is doing something to me and I don't have the powers to be able to beat that person back, right? But the only power that I have is to let people know this is what they're happening. It has gone to the point where there's this relationship between, especially the UDP and the police. They believe that the police always, wherever they gather, they treat them wrongly, they treat them bad, and they are always on the defense when it comes to the police. At that point, when you have that kind of relationship between the police and the citizen, what can that cause? What can that cause? Because these are things that as a community we need to work on. We need to have, I remember before it was the army, right? We never had a good relationship with the army. And when the change of government happened, the army went back. And I remember General Drame, one time we met at this program, he said, you would not see the army again. We have gone back to the barracks, and the army has stayed back. We had that relationship. Now, the Afrobarometer survey now is showing a lot of confidence between the people and the army, because the army had stayed back. But the relationship now has become the police and the people. Now, if at some point the people believe that the police are always coming after them, and the police feel like These set of people are always causing trouble. So whenever we go to their functions, we also have to be aggressive. I'm not specifically saying that's what they're saying, but it seems like anytime there's an encounter, there's issues. So when there's that kind of relationship between the population and the law enforcement, that is not good. What should be done to, what should be done to avert that? Because if this continues, it doesn't make sense for the police, and also it's not good for the citizens, because they will say we don't trust them, and the police say they always bring violence. So when we go to them, we will make sure we bring it to them, and they will also say, well, they always bring violence. That relationship there, mainly so say all the time, police solo and these people. So that is not good for the society. Yeah.
Well, you're right. The problem here is Gambia didn't transition from the Second Republic to a Third Republic. One, because we don't have a constitution yet. Secondly, the Public Order Act, which is a nuisance to the rights of the citizenry, is still festering. 7 years almost into the new dispensation. These are things that we need to do. And also, I think the culture of policing didn't change from the last republic to this republic. Why? The very people who used to brutalize are still within the system, and they are not retrained and retooled. So the problems still persist, because the very people who used to say, you made a comment, and you made a statement, and I just want to rectify a little bit on that. We don't have a problem with the police. We have a problem with the paramilitary.
Okay,
paramilitary. What the army used to be in the Second Republic is what the paramilitary is becoming in this dispensation. I think police officers are the most cordial, most respectful, and cooperating public servants that I have seen.
It's the PIU. Yes, we need to be specific. Yes.
I live not far from the traffic light, and I've made a lot of friends. And people who stand by the traffic light, to a point, they're like family. If you look at the police officer at Kotu, Ture, his name is Ture.
Yes.
I've never seen a friendly police officer like him since I saw a guy called Silo Bula. He's no longer a police officer.
Yeah.
So yes, police officers are great people, and they're doing a great service to the state. But unfortunately, the culture of policing, which they have inherited over the past years, especially from 94 to 2016, that is the problem. And we haven't done much to change that system. And changing that system starts with changing and redefining how we police, how the police relate with the communities that they police, and also making sure that there are processes within the policing framework. Any institution should have what you call standard operating procedures. And a standard operating procedure manual will tell you, if you arrest a person, you need to do 1, 2, 3. But no, we should not stop there. We should have, just like we have the accountant general that goes and look after government's money, or the auditor general, we should also have an institution that measures the public service delivery of these institutions, including the police. I've always been saying one thing: who is policing the police that's policing us?
You kept saying this, yeah.
This is the fundamental problem that this country is faced with. And I don't envy the IG, because he has a huge, human resource to take care of. They are not motivated because of pay scale. They're not motivated because they lack the basics of living, i.e. proper shelter. I mean, let's face the facts. It's just in the past 4 or 5 years or 7 years that we are seeing professionalism being inculcated into our police, whereby we're having police officers wanting to further their education. Great, bravo, I'm happy for that.
Yeah.
But if you look at the rank and file of the police, they lack the basics that should give them not a comfortable, but a normal human life that is dignified. if that is not provided, guess what? The culture of the police will change, not only for them to be corruptible, but also for them to be subservient to the powers that be. And what do I mean by that? We always see that the party in power tends to have favorable relationships with the police, i.e. when they want to march, they go ahead and do it. When they want to have their rallies, no one says no. So, but if we have standard operating procedures that spell out who can have what, when they have it, what do we need to do, there will be impartiality. So we need a systems overhaul. The Gambia is crying for a new Gambia, but a new Gambia cannot be born when the habits of old are persisting 7 years into the new dispensation. So not much has changed from 94 to 2016 if you compare that from 2017 to date. People will tell you we have more freedoms. Yeah. I won't say that. I think freedoms that we enjoy are highly discretionary. Yeah. And I can enjoy it, someone else may not enjoy it. And that's not what the law wants. And that's not what we want as a people. So going forward, I think more training needs to happen. You know, someone like me, I've been calling for a comprehensive civil service reform. Yeah. And this comprehensive civil service reform, that's why when I saw the judicial review for judges, I wasn't happy because that's not the only place. We have seen piecemeal reforms in the civil service in different sectors, and that's not helping. Okay. The police officers, the teachers, the immigration officers, the drug law enforcement officers, their biggest problem is housing. The amount of money they're paid, they cannot even pay rent. So we have a fundamental problem, and security is one of the most precious assets that the country has, and the deliverable of our security must be very, very, very top-notch. If not, the lives of the citizenry will be compromised, and that's where we are. But let's do hope that with the IG, he will see that his human resource base are demotivated, they are undertrained, and the best and the brightest are not coming to the force because it's not a place you want to be. It's an employment of last resort for over 70% of the people in the force. It's an employment of first resort for some, but overwhelming majority going to the police is an employment of last resort. So motivation is not there, and the role of the IGP is not to police. The role of the IGP is to make sure that his team are highly motivated, ready to deliver first-class service to the citizenry of this country.
Finally, Nyang, because I have one lawyer to bring, but I just wanted to ask this question because you mentioned it briefly, and after the incident when the gun shooting happened, the next day, the National Assembly, a lot of the National Assembly members were calling for arming the police officers. Now, I see a lot of human rights defenders saying, hold on, we are all being a little emotional here because considering the situation we are in right now, whenever we get in contact with the PIU, to be specific, let's not say police, there's always either people are being tear gassed or something is happening. Now, considering that situation, arming the police, is that the right thing to do? You know, when people have guns and they have access to it, they will use it. Do you think is the right thing to arm the police as we speak, or should we wait until we believe the reforms have taken place, the police are motivated, and we have a good relation, like police community relationship, and encourage community policing? Or would you just recommend arming the police at this stage?
Well, I think public policy should not be reactionary, meaning just because an incident happened, our policy prescription should be in line to resolve what has happened. I think Gambians too often tend to react rather than have deliberate actions that will guide how we live. If we look at what's happening, I don't think the police need to be armed, but those that are mounting checkpoints need to be adequately protected in terms of their public adequate, when I say adequate resources, not only weapons, but mobility, to make sure that they can move when something happens. Let's say it was a drive-by shooting. Who is going after that car? Nobody. Because the police that are at the checkpoint don't have mobility. So as a country, we need to start defining what is of paramount interest to us. Our education, health, and security, or our travel, pajeros, and per diems. So the little resources that Gambia has, if we reprioritize them, I think we will have a society that is living in peace and not living in fear. If we take our resources and pay our police better, we will have a motivated group of police officers who are willing to serve and serve properly and diligently. If we take our resources and retrain, re-kit the police, I think crime will go down, the society will be better, and, in conclusion, Gambia will become a better place. But the way I see things, we pay a lip service to national security. What do I mean by that? Just go to the budget and look at what's being spent in terms of capital infrastructure and capital items. Capital items meaning equipment that the police need. We're living in 2023. Gambia doesn't have a forensic lab. It says a lot. Almost a 2.6, 2.7 million population. You don't have a good forensic lab. So a lot of people are not going to jail because we can't catch them. We don't have a good fingerprinting information systems for tracking criminals and registering criminals and sex offenders, etc., etc. Why? Because we are not investing into these things. And so long as we are not doing it, it means we're paying a lip service to security. I feel sorry for the IG. I mean, if you look at the way traffic is in Gambia right now, it's chaotic. Chaotic not because the police are not trying, but we lack enforcement. People are not being punished for breaking the law because the police are overwhelmed. So we need to have systems, cameras, and other things that will help in law enforcement. So I think sometimes when things happen, we should look at the bright side. It's a dull moment for Gambia, and my condolences to all. And the bright side is it's time for us to refocus on the priority of national security and making sure that we sleep well at night. Because the police out there making sure that we sleep well at night and not properly and adequately protected. So I do hope that, in our subsequent budgets, we find ways and means to make sure that our police officers, our teachers, our firemen, our nurses, these are the foundations of building a society, are well numerated and they're well in terms of their zeal. I mean, without a good zeal, their performance will be lackluster.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Nyang. And it's good to have these conversations just to bring to times the situations, what is happening, and to just update people as to what is happening. I'll be back again. I hope we can catch up again and talk about more of these issues. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you, and condolences to the fallen people. And on behalf of every Gambian, we say a great thank you to our police.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you. That was Nyang Njie, and I think, thank you so much. I want to thank Sajo Dabo for the stars, my sister Nanding, thank you for the stars, and also we want to thank, I think I saw one CB. Thank you also for the stars. Thank you so much. So I'm going to call vouching for the Gambia. Okay, somebody sent me something. Vouching for the Gambia. Okay, so somebody sent me this, but who is this person? Let me see. Okay, so this is, I'm going to read it because I'm live. So if something comes up, I'm going to read it. So this is coming from Babukar Sankano, the deputy, since I'm live, so whatever happens, I'm just going to put it out. Babakar Sankano is the deputy government spokesperson. Thank you, Ibrahim Ajob, for your stars. We appreciate them. I'm going to read it. Vouching for the Gambia government spokesperson, Ibrahim Aji Sankare. We'll publish it on the paper right now, but I'm going to read it. Since I read the GFF statement live, I'm going to read this also. It's like President Barrow temporary. No, sorry. What happened? Why did he delete that? Oh, okay. It's deleted, so he will send another one. Okay, hopefully he will send it. I was going to read it. This is coming from the deputy government spokesperson, but apparently it's deleted, so he will call back. He will send it again. When he sends, maybe there was some mistake, and I will read it. Now let me call. I wanted to call a Gambian lawyer here, but I'm not able to. But I think Sergio, who he's a lawyer, he operates in the US, but he should be able to just give us some guidelines as to the situation we're talking about. So let's see if he's available. And then we will be able to have him. Hey, Sergio. I'm eating into your time, though. Sorry about that. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So, Sergio, yes, we're going to be brief, like 2 minutes, right? So I just wanted to have a lawyer's perspective. So, I'm sure you've been following, especially my first live feed, where we spoke to Nene and Mr. Mane from UDP. They are at the police. Apparently, today 72 hours should clock for Sabally and Bio Sonko. But they were supposed to be either bailed or charged. So from my understanding, they came with something. Apparently, that was the charge sheet where they were charging them for threatening public officials. So and Hope now they wanted them to sign, but Sabally and lawyers advised against signing that, and they didn't sign. And the police said they were going back to consult and come back. So I know right now the 72 hours has club. What happens now? What do you think should happen? The police had up to 72 hours. That is within their rights, right?
Well, yeah. Okay. Under, I think, 97 constitutional provisions, usually anyone who is arrested or detained, there's a requirement that you bring them before a court without deliberate speed in any event not more than 72 hours. And then those provisions are mandatory whether the person is detained or not. The only distinction is if someone is arrested, law enforcement has a requirement within 3 hours to inform them of the charges, or even if they are detained, in fact, you have to let them know. Yeah. Now, I think they were arrested sometimes last week, I'm not sure exactly, but assuming, let's say, the 72 hours clock is running today, and then unless Gambia is like here where you have judges with what we call arraignment judges even at night to make sure, someone is brought before a judge within those 24 hours. And then the only thing they could do in order to protect themselves and then make sure, supposedly, let's say, if they derived any evidence from during those custodial interrogation to protect those things, I will release them. And then since you wanted to file charges, or if the charges are filed, you could file it, and then they would appear in court, release them. And then that would just solve that. You don't want it to blow that deadline, right? But if they are formally arrested, because I'm not aware of this thing, but let's say they are formally arrested and then 72 hours is about to elapse, and then there is no way you could find that information with court to do those charging documents. I think police should have legal advisors within them. They would look at it and then advise that just release the individuals, and then if you file your information in court, they would come and then answer. And I think we can all agree that neither Sonko nor Sabally would be a flight risk, meaning that, if we let them go, they would run out of the country. I don't think that's an issue here, or even the argument, maybe they would be a danger to the public. I don't think that would be relevant here. But I don't know why they need to sign anything. I'm not sure about that. Maybe it's service, because you never know what's going on in there. But usually, if the state wanted to charge you, you don't need to consent to that. It's Gambia's information system. They will file the bill of indictment, and then if it's like here, if you file the information system, and then for cases that are misdemeanors, we don't do any prelims. And then for cases where it's a felony and information is filed, usually they are the criminal hearing. And then what that means is to test the legal sufficiency of the complaint to see whether there is probable cause that the crime in fact is committed. And then if not, the charges get dismissed. And then for certain jurisdictions, because US we have both, where there's a grand jury system. Usually, if you want to charge someone with a felony, the grand jury has to sit and then put a true bill in order for you to indict them. But Gambia has an information system just like Wisconsin, right? So usually when those charges are filed, and then just get filed with the court, maybe they are serving them with papers, and then they can refuse to accept service, or if they have legal personnel, they will give it to them. But you cannot stop an indictment because you don't want to serve, you don't want to sign. But I don't think that's the issue. I hope that's not it. Maybe it has to do with something else, or maybe it has to do with other paperwork that indicated that they said something, and then maybe there's a disagreement on that, and then they wouldn't sign that. But for cases like it's the only thing that I could not understand from my own point of view. At least, I don't know whether they work weekends, but if you are running out, the clock is running, and why not do this in the morning? At least you have to have an idea that you are going to file charges or not, and then you should at least anticipate very well. And then two, unless if the individuals are talking to them actively, and then I don't know. But my thinking would be for someone who is of Sabally's background in terms of education and esposo, or even Sonko, and then the question becomes when they were initially invited, because if you looked at the constitutional provision, it speaks of detention and then those who are arrested, those 72 hours requirement, right? Now, Gambia, I know I wrote about it. I said the police would use this euphemism as, invitation for questioning. The question becomes if someone voluntarily come to you and then they are free to leave, they are not under detention, and then they are not under arrest. So the clock is not triggered. It's like a voluntary interaction between law enforcement and citizen. So nothing literally happened there. So we don't know that. That's why I always keep saying, if police invite you, why not invite them to your office if they want to talk to you, in a neutral ground. But if they tell you no, we want to bring you in, at least at that point, you are detained. They're not formally arresting you, but at least they are detaining you. And then they would tell you our laws require that if you get detained within 3 hours, for them to tell you in a language that you understand the reason for their detention, right?
Yeah.
They could explain to you, look, we are investigating a crime, and then we believe that you might have information to provide us for this crime. And then as part of that advice, within the 3 hours, they should tell you too, you also have a right to counsel, right?
Yes.
So for someone who is sophisticated, what I would think, they would already have lawyers on retainer, or someone who is in fact an executive member in a political party. I would expect them to have, a legal representative for that party. So if you invoke your right to counsel, if just like here, and then even UK, and then Gambia, I stand to be corrected, but I don't think there is any rule that would allow law enforcement to talk to you once you invoke your right to counsel, which means the interview ceased. That voluntary questioning just end there. Police cannot talk to you without your lawyer being present.
Yeah.
And then the only time they can now re-engage that conversation, the only way police could sanitize that, you have to put a written waiver indicating that you waiving your right to counsel, and now you wanted to engage in talking. So this is where there's a lot of, I don't know what the standard practice is in Gambia. It could be strategic. Some lawyers would want their clients to talk, thinking, if you talk, you cooperate, police would believe you and then find you credible about your explanation and let you go. I don't know. But what I do know of, most people, especially with this kind of sophistication, you bring them, they're going to invoke their right to counsel. And once they do, the interview ceases there, meaning now the police are in the dialogue. I'm engaging my right to counsel. I'm not talking to you. I want to go home. So two things could happen.
Yeah.
Either they tell you, no, you are not free to go, which automatically change the situation into custodial interrogation. Now you're in detention because it's called show of authority and inability to move. They don't have to tell you you are under detention or you are under arrest. The court looked at substance over form. You ask them, I don't want to talk to you, I want to leave. If they tell you no, you can't leave. At that point, you are under detention. So your clock started running. And then, of course, they have to let you know why you were there within 3 hours as the law requires. So if you're not talking to them, and then before the 72 hours end, they have, they're in that, cut 22. Either file charges, roll the dice, and then just file charges with what they don't know, or let you go and then conduct further investigation to see if they could have anything to bring the charges. And I think, this depends on how lawyers approach cases and then how our police, would handle cases. Because I think there's this tacit understanding from my point of view, the way I observe things. Police and legal practitioners engage in these issues where they would call you for questioning, and then that call for questioning turns into custodial, interrogation, where someone is in effect in detention, and then they would have lawyers invoke that, and then counsels would be coming in, talking to the police, witnesses are writing cautionary statement. It's confusing. So it kind of blur the line. Yeah. Is it something that they write to counsel, or is the lawyer advising them to do it? I don't know.
So, Sadio, my thing is, I remember one time we spoke when Bora was arrested, and we spoke, and you were telling me, but he was not charged. Why was he bailed and all the stuff? But the fact is, if you don't sign that bail, you still stay at that police station. So what do? Stay there continuously? They have not charged you. They said, "Tamo natina bail." What do? You still stay there, or you just pack up and leave?
That's the problem. One of two things would happen. Either our courts turn a blind eye, or the executive refuse to enforce court orders, and then it would put us in a different territory. But at least it will be clear, right?
Yeah.
And then let's say police invite you for questioning, an ordinary citizen, and then you just invoke your right to counsel, even if you don't have a lawyer. But let's say you just tell them, I don't want to talk to you, right? And then you don't want to talk, and then that's your right. They don't have to do anything, and then they're investigating a crime. This is what people don't understand. That constitutional provision of 72 hours, the law wanted to give the police the benefit of the doubt, because there's a reasonable suspicion. It's a very low standard that either you committed a crime or a crime is about to be committed, and then the police, because their job is to enforce the law and then prevent crime prevention, the law gives them that benefit of the doubt within that 72 hours to conduct investigation, either to affirm their suspicion, the initial suspicion they found, or they dispel it.
Okay.
It's like a traffic stop. We call it a Terry stop here.
Yeah.
Police officer pull you over. You understand? Maybe you did a traffic infraction, right? You forget to signal, or you do you're pulling a speed limit. Once they pull you over, they approach you. Why you pull you over, you are speeding, and then they would ask for your license and registration, because that's a traffic stop, and then they know now you have a traffic violation. While doing that, it's going to run your license. Everything could be checked, and then you're fine. You will be given a warning or a ticket. But at least that traffic stop terminated. It should be just brief for the purpose of Terry stop. Anything beyond that you are facing, it becomes illegal detention. And then that's why most of those evidence that come after that, they get disposed of. So the same thing applies to Gambia. The only difference is our constitution is generous enough to give police 72 hours, like here, where you just have 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
If you detain somebody, you're going to bring them to court or you release them. You don't have to bail. There's no such thing as police bail here. The only thing is they will let you go or bring you to the court for the court to bail you. Now, Gambia, what I can see happen, let's say police bring you over before the 72 clock came, and then they made it clear to you, say, like, hey, Fatou, we call you in to come in. You said, no, I don't want to come in. And they were like, now you have to come in, or we are coming to arrest you. And then they bring you in, and they were like, right now we are not formally arresting you, but we are putting you under detention for these 72 hours. We want to investigate this. And then you tell them, well, I'm not talking to you. The idea of police bail was, designed in such a way, at that point, since you don't want to talk to them, and then if they, make their assessment, security assessment and priorities, and understand that you are not a flight risk, you are not a danger to the community, and they don't want to keep you there, frankly, feeding you or providing for you, they could give you police bail within that 72 hours. That's all it's supposed to be. So, okay, look, the detention, in order to detain you after 72 hours, we're going to bail you. You could go and they will continue. When that 72 hours, like when they complete their investigation, they could either file charges or terminate it. But that bail also could not go in continuity. It doesn't work that way because you are not a suspect. No one formally charged you. But I think it would require a lot of training or litigation in court for courts to explain some of these provisions. Because if someone doesn't want to talk to you and then you don't file charges, at the end of the 72 hours, you cannot bail that person because they are not under detention and you have to release them. Why would you bail me? I'm not going to sign any bill, and then you have to leave me go. If you don't, you file a habeas petition with the High Court. That should be the procedure. But the problem is most people would cave in. It would take another citizen who would challenge this kind of detention for the courts to speak on it. Until then, it will continue as is right now.
It will continue as is right now. Yeah, and I hope the Bar Association and other legal bodies, human rights bodies, will take this up and and just get judgments on these cases. That way, we have standards being set. Thank you very much, Sajo. We're taking your time, and I know you are at work. Thank you so much. Thank you. So a lot of people are saying, Melvin, can you text us on Fatou? I know you blocked me personally on my personal page. How ma lan la def nga block ma. Man duma de hulo aken dag ma block te yeguma ko how ma lan la def. But I think you will be very good in this because you have a lot of experience, you know, Gambian law. So if you can text us on Fatou and I'll text you back so we can have you on. And I think I wanted to make some clarification. I was reading a press release. Normally, the government Sankara is the deputy spokesperson. He sends us press release. So when the GFA's press release came, I read it on air. So I wanted to also read their press release, but I don't think he didn't want me to read. I think maybe they are re-editing it or something. That's what I think. So because I'm live, so if something breaking news or a press release comes in, it's just fair to give it this publicity. You know, we have over 800 people watching, so it will be good publicity for them. That was the reason. It was not like reading anything that was not right. It was more like a press release. So yeah, so let's if Melvin sends us, my admin is watching. So admin, if Melvin sends a message, can you please send him my number? I think it will be good to have him on. And then also get back and check on what is happening at Kairaba and PIU before we close. But I see Melvin making a lot of commentary on this, and I think he knows the system. But also, just like Nena is saying, people sign these things before they leave, you know. So, yeah. So let's have Melvin on. Why? He blocked me. He blocked me. I don't know what I did to him actually. So admin, if can you check on the Fatou messenger if Melvin sent a message? If he does, send him my number so he can join the program, or else I can have him. Yeah. So let's see. I think we should have him on. Please send him Melvin. Let me just go to. Okay, messages inbox, and Melvin has not yet sent a message. So if he sends a message, we will get back to him and have him on the show just to have his reaction as well. Okay, let me refresh. Those are comments, messages. No, he hasn't yet sent a message. Maybe he's gone out. But yes, so Melvin, how can you call in? Send a message to Fatou. Send your message on Fatou, and then we'll be able to send you a number to call, please. He said he unblocked you. Why did he block me in the first place? Madam Melvin, la def. Lolo fonga setal coffee. I'm sending you. Okay, I just saw your message. Call me on this number. Call me on this WhatsApp. I just sent you a message. Send me a message on this WhatsApp. So call this number. Yes, on WhatsApp. Yes, on WhatsApp. And don't give the number out to please. Okay. Yes. Why block me in the first place? I'm so harmless. I don't know why he blocked me. That's my block there. I'm Melvin the Fabari eye. It's not mistake that Hamulo Melville be fender. You were not mistakenly blocked. Mark Jani blocked you deliberately. Remember, I had to negotiate that for you. Okay, Melvin.
Hello.
Melvin. What needs to be clarified first? Why did you block me?
I don't even know. You know me, like my papa is not Sarah.
Sometimes you go cuckoo. Sometimes you go cuckoo.
Yeah, just ignore me.
Okay, good. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
So I just wanted clarification. I know I see you commenting on this incident, Sabally Sonko incident, where the police came and brought a charge sheet and wanted these people to sign. What is your observation as to what really we explain here?
Yeah, the first in the first place is I don't know, but I'm just shocked because whilst I was commenting, Nene just said to me that yes, indeed they do that, and they try to make me sign a similar document. But I cannot make sense of that. I'm just thinking both Nene and the gentleman that called are just kind of, they probably are talking about another document. But a charge sheet, what a charge sheet is the summary of the charges against an accused person that is actually taking before the court. It's like an indictment. So an accused person cannot sign that because that is what goes before the court. The charge sheet is the summary of charges, basically. So you cannot get an accused person to sign the charge sheet because that is what you take to the courts. So the two documents that an accused person can sign whilst in police detention, and that is one, the witness statement, which is the statement of the accused person at the time, probably a suspect that is before you are formally charged. So in some instances, you are asked to write your own witness, your own statement, and in some instances, the police would actually write it out for you. They will read it for you. To make sure that it reflects everything that you have detailed, and they would get you to sign it, and I think in some instances thumbprint it.
That is your statement.
And then the other and then the other document that you must sign is the cautionary statement. This is where you're actually cautioned. This is where actually it spells out the charge that you have been charged contrary to section blah 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 of the criminal code, and these are the only two documents that an accused person must and can sign on the police detention in a police station. Because every other document that a person is coerced to sign, especially an accused person, can fundamentally be a blow to the prosecution's case, because it can amount to you coercing and forcing that accused person to sign a document for, in this instance, accepting liability of an offense that otherwise they did not do. So how can you sign a document in a police station accepting liability, and then you go to court? What would you plead? How can you plead not guilty in court when you have already signed at the level of the police a document establishing liability for the charges that have been preferred against you? It's absolutely incomprehensible. So I do not understand how, where, when it is not provided for under Gambian law. It is not provided for under the CPC or even the Criminal Procedure Code, where you would ask an accused person to sign and admit a crime.
Wow.
In fact, when you go to court, where confession is obtained in a police station, there's such a high threshold to determine the authenticity of that confession, and the law specifically prescribes how that confession must be taken down. If not, even at the level of the court, it could be set aside.
Wow.
So that is the first thing which I have a problem with. The second thing, in my observation, is the fact that both Sabally and Sonko were called in when I know Nyang mentioned that this is not the first time that a police officer has been killed. Yes, it is definitely not the first time. I mean, I know the case of Danso and stuff like that because I'm familiar with it. However, in modern times, it is the first time that security officers were absolutely
gunned down
dead in a public space in such a long time that it is, for me, it is the greatest assault on our security detail to have ever happened. And what I cannot understand is that when a situation like this happens, so Sabally and them wrote whatever they wrote on their post, on their Facebook post. This is a free country, and people have the right to exercise free speech. However, I must say that free speech, there's a fine line, there's a distinction between free speech and hate speech and incitement of violence. However, when Sabally wrote this post, he did it publicly. And every single sector in the Gambia, including the police, I'm sure, were privy of this post because it was shared numerous times.
Yes.
However, if you want to look at whatever Sabally did, and the way Sabally and Sonko were arrested or called in for questioning. In fact, I don't use the word invitation in Gambia. The police are inviting you, because that basically means the police are calling you. The only reason why the police would say that they're inviting you is because they don't want to put their own resources at their disposal. They don't want to use their petrol. They don't want to pay for a taxi to go and arrest you. They're basically telling you, come and be arrested. There is nothing like the police inviting you for questioning in Gambia.
Okay.
So that does not, it's non-existent. It's a redundant phrase on the operational police procedures. Because once you're invited and you go into a station, you cannot even leave. You cannot even leave that station. They will tell you can't go. So which basically means that you're under arrest. Now, what we have here is that allegedly from the police, based on the police press conference and based on what the government spokesperson Sankara said on Coffee Time, we have an active shooter that has confessed to the crime, allegedly by the police. Now, in this instance, it is redundant to call Sabally and Sonko in connection to a crime that the shooter has already confessed to that crime. Now, in the event that there was no active shooter, there was nobody in custody. It would be logical for the police to invite Sabally and Sonko after such an incident based on their pronouncements on their post.
Okay.
It would be standard operations to invite them to speak to Sabally, speak to Sonko, and say, this and this and this is what you wrote on your post a few days ago. Subsequent to your post, so and so has happened. This person has been shot, that person has been shot. What do you have to say? What intelligence do you have? What knowledge do you have? What is your understanding of what has happened? Has somebody contacted you? You would ask the standard questions. You would try to draw a nexus. You would try to draw a link between the pronouncement of Sabally and Sonko, between their Facebook posts and what has happened. That would be under standard police investigation procedures. However, the distinction in this matter is that you have a person that has confessed to the crime. And unless that person states in their confession that they had a dealing with Sabally, or that it was based on Sabally's post that they went and attacked the security personnel and shot at the police officers, or that Sabally conspired with somebody who contacted them, that would be the only reason that Sabally can be invited in this instance, because they have a confession and they have an accused person in their custody. Who has allegedly, I keep using the word allegedly, who has allegedly confessed to the crime. So inviting Sabally to the police station, inviting Sonko, where the accused person who is in their custody has not made any mention to Sabally or the United Democratic Party or to any political party as per the police press briefing. For me, it would be redundant for Sabally and Sonko to be arrested. And the only logical, plausible conclusion is that the police have a situation in their hands where the average Gambians feel that the press release of the police, the press conference of the police, it brought in more questions than answers. People are still asking questions. People are confused. People do not even believe that the person in custody is the active shooter that actually did the offenses that the police are talking about. So the average Gambian does not believe that. You just have to take a walk on social media, and people are saying this guy looks like somebody that has a psychiatric problem. So if people are saying this, and the police have such a huge job in their hands, I feel it is a distraction And they have succeeded in doing that. That is why you and I are not talking about the killing of police officers in broad daylight in the Gambia, but we are now talking about the detention, unconstitutional and or illegal detention of Sabally and Sonko. So this is what the police have done. This is what they wanted to do, and they have succeeded in diverting public attention to one of the most heinous crimes in modern times in Gambia.
And that's exactly my point. I mentioned I raised this during my conversation with Njie. If the police, if this, like you said, is one of the most serious attacks on our law enforcement, and as a nation, we should be diverting all attention to it, and mourning with the bereaved families and showing solidarity and support to the police. But instead, we're talking about arrest of politicians. What kind of communication strategy do you think at this point the police should try to bring on to be able to redirect the conversation to this? Because it's important. You said something, people don't believe anymore. The thing is, we should trust the work of the police. If we don't trust that this investigation is going to be fair, what happens then to public confidence in relation to policing in the country?
Public confidence in the police, and by extension the executive, because we must establish that the police is part of the executive. There are three arms of government. You have the executive, you have the legislature, and you have the judiciary.
Yeah.
The police is part of the executive. Public confidence in the police and or the executive was shattered when you had the government spokesperson go on coffee time with Peter Gomez barely 48 hours after such a heinous crime had occurred in the Gambia. Everybody was in a state of shock. Everybody was in a state of mourning. And this person, this individual, and I must state here, I know Nyang said that we must divorce the individuality of the government spokesperson from his official function. I'm sorry, you cannot do that. There are certain thresholds that a certain official function that a person holds, that an individual holds. It's like President Barrow. You cannot divorce the pronouncement of President Barrow as an individual or as an Arsenal supporter and President Barrow as the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Gambia. You cannot do it. We had a similar situation when Minister Dabo tried to divorce, Lawyer Dabo tried to divorce his comments, his political comments from his individual self and his person as a political leader. And we saw what that brought. So it is very difficult. So there are certain positions that when you hold them, your pronouncement, and in this instance, the spokesperson of the government of the Gambia is by extension the mouthpiece of the President of the Republic of the Gambia. His pronouncements are a position of government. His pronouncements are government policy. And policies, because people believe that he is the mouthpiece of the government, mouthpiece of the executive, and by extension, mouthpiece of the president. When he went on coffee time with Peter Gomez and he spoke, this was he speaking on a position of knowledge. The average Gambian that listened to Sankare believed that Sankare has been adequately briefed. He had adequate intelligence to come out on coffee time with Peter Gomez on a public platform and say the things that he said. Now, it was rather unfortunate that barely 24 hours, 48 hours after his pronouncement, the police came, offered a press conference, and systematically, in a diplomatic way, debunked every statement of Sankare. Now, what happened was we were hearing and listening from two different quarters in one block, as in the executive. When the police speak, that is the government speaking, they are part of the executive. When Sankare spoke, that is the government speaking, he's part of the executive. And now you and I are left with, who do you believe amongst the two? Was Sankare adequately briefed? I personally believe that this gentleman was briefed. I don't think Sankare is insane enough to go on a public platform to say the things that he said.
I believe so too. I believe Sankare was briefed.
Now the question that people should ask themselves is, was Sankare deliberately misled? And if Sankare was deliberately misled, you and I can adequately draw a conjecture that the government, the president, was misled. And then it takes you down to a further question: who misled the president? Who misled government? Wow. Was it the police?
This is deep.
Was it the SIS? Who had the intelligence that government had that the police are now debunking and saying Sankara said this person worked at Brikama Area Council? It turned out that was false. Sankara said this person was seen in a court protest. It turned out this thing was false. And now it leaves us Gambians in a position where we do not know who to trust.
Yeah.
Public confidence in the executive and the police has been totally eroded in this matter. And for me, the irony of it all is that this was one matter. This was one matter that could have unified the entire Gambia. I'm always on Facebook. I'm on every platform. And when these police officers were shot, every Gambian, irrespective of religious affiliation, irrespective of political affiliation, irrespective of ethnic affiliation, people like us who are always critiquing the police, we were all standing in active solidarity with the police. And that was a beautiful moment for the executive to unify the Gambia, to bring the Gambia under one umbrella and actually allow the investigations to continue the way it should have continued. Bring out credible source, credible information to the public, keep the public adequately informed, keep the public adequately satisfied in terms of receiving information that was crucial and key to their own safety. Reassure the Gambians that, you know what, this is an event that has happened. This is a one-off. It's under control. We have intelligence that the shooter, there's nobody out there that you should be worried about. If there is somebody out there, yes, you would advise Gambians, be cautious. The person is armed. He's out there. Be on the lookout. Just bring some sort of reassuring voice to the Gambia.
Yeah.
This did not happen. We did not see this happen. And because we did not see this happen, knowing how Gambia operates, we were taking information from everywhere. And when the public is hungry for information, trust me, whatever comes out is what people would take until it turns out not to be credible. So I think that was a lost opportunity. And now what is happening is the police, in their press briefing, have not said anything that is substantial and tangible that you and I can authoritatively rely on and say, yes, an active investigation has been concluded or is on its way. In fact, I said to my friend today that there is something that I don't see people talking about. This alleged gunman was not caught because of extensive police investigation. This guy was caught because he confessed to a crime. And that is something we should not miss. This is not a person that was caught because of an extensive, I would repeat, an extensive police investigation.
Wow.
This is a person that was caught because the person confessed to a crime, to a person who contacted the police to inform the police of the alleged confession of this gentleman.
Wow. Now, as a lawyer, with these miscommunications coming from the same cycles, the government, how does this weaken the government's case? If, for example, government is saying this and the government spokesperson is saying this, and the like you said, the press conference is debunking it systematically in a diplomatic way, and then of course, people having doubts in the stories. How does it weaken the government's case when it comes to this? Even when it comes to going to court.
Well, in any
because Sankara, when Sankara was speaking, there were certain things that he said were very vital. He said, for example, the gunman was hired. What was hired, right? He was paid, right? And he also said after the attack, the man met with his co-conspirators in a mosque, and where a vehicle was provided for him to leave. Now, the family, when we interviewed them, said the guy actually left the following day, right? And even a taxi driver also that Membekere interviewed corroborated that. And also, they said the gun, the guy told them there was a gun somewhere and they wanted to go retrieve it. And there was the government, the police told us they have not recovered any gun, right? And there was a time there was a car that was paraded on social media allegedly to be his vehicle. That is not his vehicle, but that vehicle was on the scene, and people are linking that vehicle to other officials. So there have been a lot of miscommunications and stories not matching. That at some point people are just getting worried about communication that is coming from both sides, even though it was just one interview and one press conference, but a lot of things are not matching up between the two communication units. How would that affect government's case?
It's very easy to answer that question, Fatou. Now, you as a layperson, you are not the court of law.
Yeah.
You are not the defense lawyer. You as a layperson, you as a journalist, what you have just said to me by way of a question is actually poking holes in the investigation detail, the investigation information that you are privy to, that was given to you either by the police or by the press, the interview of the government spokesperson. Now, can you imagine what happens in a court of law where in criminal matters the threshold is beyond reasonable doubt? In other words, beyond a shadow of doubt. So anywhere in the prosecution's case, and remember, the proof of guilt to prove the prosecution's case, it always mostly resides squarely up. Okay.
Yeah.
So it is for the police. The accused person can go to court and decides to exercise his right to remain silent and not say a word. A word in that matter in that court.
Yeah.
But it is for the prosecution to establish their case beyond all reasonable doubt. Now, let me tell you the doubts that you have just mentioned. You have just said 1 minute they told you that it was a certain car. They said that's not the car. I watched the interview with the brother where the brother said, I mean, I don't know, and I'm trying to make sense of that. I tried to discuss this with my friend, that what right-thinking person, individual, would understand the gravity of such an offense, and they would seek to create an alibi for the person that has been accused. You shot a police officer dead, 3 police officers, 2 died, and your brother is saying at the time of the commissioning of the offense, he was with them. That is what you call in law an alibi. He is basically saying this person was not at the crime scene at the time that this act occurred.
Yeah.
So in all indicators is this guy mad? Are the brothers mad to come out when they know that there has been a direct affront on the security apparatus of this country, and they go out to try to defend their brother? Nobody would do that.
Yeah.
You would be looking for other mitigating circumstances and situations. You would be looking at how you would appeal, how you would negotiate with the police. But you would not come out publicly with such authoritative stance to say that my brother was with me. And if you listen again to the audio that was leaked into the public domain, these are sensitive key information that the prosecution would need to establish and secure a conviction against this gentleman. And the audio is all over social media. People are dissecting it. People are saying the lady was leading him. People were saying you could not hear the guy's voice was muffled. It was just the lady talking. People are now linking the lady to President Barrow's wife. People are saying this. People are saying that. Now, for me, as a lawyer...
No, but actually the lady himself on that audio was saying he called President Barrow's sister Korka. It was the lady actually who mentioned that name Korka, saying that she called that. Yeah.
And then you would ask yourself, Fatou, is a gunman so mad to go and kill security details and has nobody else to confess to his crime to but to somebody who's close to the president's sister?
Maybe he doesn't know. Maybe he doesn't know that they're close. Maybe he doesn't know.
Well, that is such a coincidence, Fatou.
Okay.
Such a coincidence for such a high-profile matter. And trust me, I think even the courts would have a problem establishing that.
Wow. So this whole thing is confusing. Now, what do you think? What should be the direction now, Melvin? What do you think as a lawyer?
Let me give you another point.
Yeah.
Let me just give you another point before I forget. Quite interesting, and I mean, it's not rocket science. You just have to follow criminal trials all over the world in every jurisdiction. Now, a person who has confessed to a crime voluntarily, this person, as we are told, did not confess under duress. So you cannot say a confession was obtained under duress, or the police were beating him or torturing him and he confessed. No, this was a voluntary confession of a person who made a confession even whilst out of the jurisdiction of the Gambia. That is something you should put your finger on, yeah? Now, if this person confessed to such a crime, why is the police telling us they could not find a mother weapon? If you are confessing to a crime, I mean, the first thing you would disclose is where is the weapon. Because you don't do half confessions. You either confess and go the whole 9 years or don't confess at all. But I believe the police know exactly what they're doing. I believe this is a very critical matter in the prosecution's case, in the case of the police establishing culpability, and whatever weapon there is has to match the bullets that were shot into the bodies of those three innocent men and a lady. So they have to be accurately sure with that information, because trust me, it will be tested. It would have to be established that yes, this is the weapon that was used. The bullets that came out of that weapon, and most of these bullets and ammunition are serialized. It has to commensurate the type of weapon used, the type of ammunition that was used. And that is why we still cannot get that detail. We have a confession. They said they have the boots, they have the clothes, they have everything. They knew everything. In fact, like you mentioned, the government spokesperson talked about how they went into a mosque, how they had a conspiracy, how they got into a car. But where is the weapon? That is the key. Now, the other question I want to ask, which I don't know because, again, it didn't come up, has an autopsy been done on these bodies that were already buried?
I cannot confirm, but
these are the things that you would need to prove a case in court. You would need the autopsy report. A pathologist would have to be called as an expert witness to establish what really, officially, like, these people died of gunshots. This was the ammunition. This was the type of bullet used, etc., etc. So what we have before us is a high-profile case that the entire country is actually interested in, and the police have strategically, in a very clever way, diverted public attention to Sabally and Sonko.
Now, this man, the alleged shooter, right now is under custody. He should be accorded all his rights, right? He should have legal representation. What kind of situation would you imagine he is in right now? Is he having access to a lawyer? Because if he's only speaking to the investigators without a lawyer, how does this thing, how does it happen? I know these high profile cases most of the time, because I know I was, this Pablo Jabi case, one of the lawyers was telling me they could not even have access to their clients. These were people that were charged with 1.9 gram, whatever, some substance, and they could not have access to their lawyers, right? What about something like this, a high profile case like this? This guy is only speaking to investigators. Is there any lawyer that is guiding him? Whatever he says without his legal guidance, how admissible is that in court? Is that anything that can be looked at or whatever? What is the situation right now regarding him? Oh, I think Melvin dropped and he's calling again. Okay, Melvin, sorry, dropped. I didn't know.
Oh, sorry.
Did you hear what I was saying?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
So I was talking the legal
talking about what happens to his rights.
Yeah.
Now, two things is at stake. The first thing is something that would be an added advantage to his defense team if he ever has one, because it's a capital offense, and therefore the state must provide him a legal aid.
Okay.
So in all capital offenses, the state has to provide legal aid. So that is if he cannot afford a lawyer or his family cannot secure legal representation, or no Gambian lawyer has offered to take up the case pro bono, which is for free, then the state is mandated to provide legal counsel for him. Now, on the standard police operations in the Gambia, I had Sajo, I was just laughing, and I just sent him a message quietly under, because Sajo was talking about, I mean, I just see myself in a Californian,
court system.
Center, police cell. It doesn't happen like that.
It doesn't happen like this here. Yeah.
So, telling the police that I'm not going to say anything and I'm just going to walk out, nah, it doesn't happen like that. You'll be there forever. Yeah. And when you were talking, I was making a comment because you asked a very important question. You were like, so for example, Sabally and Sonko. So the police decide to detain them beyond the mandated constitutional provision of 72 hours. What happens? That was your question. You were asking one of the the panelists that you had on.
Yeah.
And what happens is, you see, the police understand the loopholes in the legal system. They understand the loopholes in the criminal justice system.
Melville, you're gonna speak because I continue speaking. I'll be back in just continue speaking. I'll be back in a second. Pat.
How the court system works in the Gambia. By the time the defense lawyers will file those processes, by the time they will take it to the court, file it in court, the court serves the state, they come back, they give a hearing date or hearing notice. Trust me, it would be Christmas before that matter is determined. In fact, I think, I'm not sure if the courts are back, but the courts are on recess, and you have something like this, you would have to take it before a vacation judge, make an application for all sorts of stuff that you would have to do. And by the time you get, because of how the court system is detailed, by the time you get that habeas corpus writ to even appear before a judge, that would have been Christmas.
Yeah.
So the police know this. So the best thing to do, really, in Gambia, which I know, is to try to negotiate and force the police basically to respect the constitutional detention limit of 72 hours, of either taking them before a competent court or letting them go. Because what they're being charged for is indeed a bailable offense, really. So they can be bailed. But then, the truth be told, I know of two instances, I'm not sure if you're aware, maybe as a journalist, where the courts just last week granted bail to accused persons in that drug case, and the state refused to release them.
Actually, I kept writing about that story, and somebody said to me, "Oh, why are you interested in this drug case?" But it's not about the drug case or whatever.
No, it's not about the drug case. It's about
the fundamental human rights.
The court system.
If the court grants
it's about the police violating a court order. It's about the police saying that they don't respect the courts.
Yeah,
it is for you and I to be worried, to be scared.
Because
where the police now do not respect the courts, don't respect court judgments, they are not obeyed, they are not respected, then what happens to us? We become a lawless society.
This is what I was saying.
Takes the law into their hands, and there's no repercussion.
This is what I was saying. That instant, the magistrate court in Bundung granted them bail. After detaining them for almost 10 to 12 days, the magistrate court granted them bail based on jurisdiction issues and some other technicalities. The police, the drug law enforcement, instead of letting them go, rearrested them and took them into custody. And again, they were rearranged at the Carnifing Magistrate Court on, I think it was Thursday. And my reporter was at the court, and then we had signal that they were parked there, the police and the drug law enforcement agent, they were all standing there. And, we wrote that they were bailed. And then they withdrew. When they told the guys to come back to the drug law enforcement agency to pick their belongings. Once they went there, they started finding, according to the lawyer interviewed Lamin Kamara, they started finding faults in the ruling of the magistrate's court. And then they told these people to come back, and they arrested them. They are still in detention, even though the court has bailed them. Melville, that is really, really, really serious in this new dispensation, where a court gives a ruling and the drug law enforcement or the police violates that and arrest that person. Whatever crime that person must have done, once the court says no, this is this, it should be that. And that is what's not happening right now, and that is scary.
It is very scary. You see, I'll give you an example. You see, in the Bob Ketter case, when he was granted bail, okay, I'm mentioning this case because a lot of governments will be aware, so they can just draw the dots.
Yeah.
When he was granted bail, the state went to the Court of Appeal to appeal against the bail that was granted by the lower court. And the court of appeal upheld the bail, the appeal of the state prosecutors, and that was why his bail was revoked. That is what is respect for the law and respect for judicial processes and respect for the courts. If the drug law enforcement agency felt that these people shouldn't be granted bail, they felt that they have genuine circumstances, compelling evidence that they can bring before a court, they should have appealed the bail. But you do not violate the courts openly, publicly, because what you're saying is that, you know what, the court can, excuse my language, just go to hell.
Yeah.
Just go to hell. And that is scary, because let me tell you, see, even Njie did not openly violate the courts. He would have his mercenary judges that he would use to get the type of judgment or the type of outcome that he wants.
Yeah.
But he hardly violated openly the courts because he wanted to create a persona. He wanted to create an environment where people could see that the courts were functioning and they were effective. So he would not openly violate orders of the court like that. He would clandestinely go around it, circumvent it, but to see the police openly violating an order of the court, I mean, this is scary for me, because it is telling other people that, you know what, you cannot even rely on having equitable justice in the Gambia, because the executive, the police, can choose to abide by court orders or not. And for me, that is a fundamental affront on the rule of law. It's a fundamental affront on every democratic ideal and principles. And a country cannot progress where the law courts are not respected. A country cannot progress where court orders, court judgments are openly flouted. You cannot talk about democracy on one hand. You cannot go to the Human Rights Council as a country boasting of democratic advancement ideals in your country when you are blatantly reducing the courts to a laughing stock. And I think it is very serious. I think the executive must not sit and watch that this thing goes by. I think President Barrow, if he indeed wants to leave a legacy, this is something that he must jealously guard. Yeah. Jealously guard. And I also think the courts as well have a fundamental role to play. You see, things like this used to happen in Nigeria. It used to happen in Nigeria under General Sani Abacha. But you know what the courts did? When the prosecutors were going to court and openly flouting court orders, were openly flouting court judgments, you know what the courts decided to do? They refused to grant the state prosecutors and police officers audience in the courts. And until the Gambia does that, the police will not respect the outcomes of the court. If a police officer flouts the court and they come to that same court for another matter, kick them out. Don't grant them an audience until they respect the order of the court. And it is only then that they would respect and uphold the sanctity of the judicial arm of government.
I mean, I just hope they're listening to you, because this is really serious. This was a great concern for me.
Because it's exactly what I'm telling you. Now, the police know that what would happen. The lawyers will now go and file processes. They'll take it to court. The court will serve the police. They will give a hearing date. Maybe they will give another date for another month. 2 days before the case, the police can write to the court and say, we are sorry, we cannot attend. The prosecutor that's handling the matter is sick, he's in hospital.
Meanwhile,
the matter would be adjourned.
Meanwhile,
they have loopholes.
These people are still in detention. Yes.
But it is only, there are 2 ways you can get this sorted. 2 ways. Either the executive, either President Barrow comes out and condemns in the strongest of terms that the police and whoever in the Gambia must abide and respect all court orders, all court decisions, and all court judgments, or the courts themselves can refuse to hear a single case from the state Because remember, you cannot distinguish, oh, that's the police, that's the Attorney General office. That no, they are all executive organs of the state.
Yeah.
And if the courts decide not to grant audience to the Attorney General, not to grant audience to state prosecutors, wallahi, I'm telling you, the Attorney General will ensure that the Inspector General of Police respects every decision and outcome of the courts. Wow. And that's the only way forward.
That's the only way forward. And finally, the Sabally case, it seems like they're going to spend another night. It's 7 o'clock. I have not gotten any update right now from them. It seems like so what does that mean? Their rights have been violated already because it's over 72 hours?
Absolutely. It amounts to false imprisonment. Because if you detain them, the law says that you can only constitute, and let me make this clear, just because the law says that you can hold them for 72 hours does not mean that you have to hold them for 72 hours. You can bring them and question them for 30 minutes. If the questioning would last for 30 minutes, you can do it under 30 minutes and let them go. You can do it under an hour and let them go. What the law is saying, what the Constitution is saying, is that there's a time limit, that you cannot. And what the Constitution is seeking to do is to protect their fundamental human rights. Is to protect their rights, the freedoms, and everything else that goes with it. The dignity of person. If you believe that you have credible information, you believe that you have a prima facie case, at least no matter how minimal, take them before a court of law. Take them before a competent court and allow the court to make its decision. Allow them to either have a court bail or for the court to keep them in remand. That is what the law says. If the police holds any detainee beyond the constitutional limit of 72 hours, it amounts to false imprisonment.
No.
But then again, a precedent has already been created just last week. What came out of it? Nothing.
Nothing.
The police violated the court orders, where accused persons were granted bail by the court.
Yeah.
So for the police to flout the 72 hours constitutional limit, it's a walk in the park.
It brings us to the question: who is policing the police?
Exactly.
Nobody.
Nobody. And until that is done, then we are where we are, basically. And it's just sad. It's a sad reality. And like I always tell people, now it is Sabally, now it is Sonko, but there will come a time, because you see these things, this is how it starts. It starts in a very minimal level. Yeah. So the police are testing the waters. And they violated the court order. What came out of it? Nothing.
Nothing. And the last time, Melvin, this brings me to the question, the last time when Fatou was arrested, and we started saying, please release Fatou, and when the other cases, people started speaking up, and some people were saying, why are you defending this person? You know what they have done to you or something. And I said, look, this is not about Fatou, this is not about Fatou Toure or Sabally or Bora. This is about defending what is right. If we say, because I don't like Sabally, I don't like Sonko, so I'm not going to speak up because it's Sabally, you don't know when it's going to be you. As long as it's within the limits of the law, if you have the voice and you're able to voice it out. And this is what is happening right now. Everything in this country is so polarized. It leaves people in between who don't belong to any of these camps, just like that. They don't even know what to do, what to say. You say anything, you are in opposition, as long as it's not favoring government. Even though if you're speaking within the limits of the law, and you say anything for the government, the opposition thinks also you're against them. The country has gotten to a stage where this is our new reality. Now, bringing back to what you said, it's Sabally today, it's Sonko today. You don't know who it is. Why do you think people should have that mindset?
Well, people should have the mindset because in every dictatorship, it creeps. Nobody is born a dictator. No one is born a dictator.
But we are not in a dictatorship, right? We are not in a dictatorship right now.
No. Okay. No, we are not in a dictatorship. When Yahya Jammeh came, he was not a dictatorship. he wasn't a dictator.
Yeah.
I mean, he came, the entire Gambians and everybody embraced him because his message was that of transparency and accountability, good governance, a progressive and democratic society. You know, a Gambia that would be like Dubai. This is what people saw. This was what people believed in.
Yeah.
So it is very clandestinely done. It is done in a very strategic way, and it comes in very small measures. So you see the drug people, these are not high-profile Gambian celebrities. People don't really know them. I think most of them are from Guinea-Bissau or something like that. So it seemingly seems as if it's sliding past public attention. Now, for example, if it was, you know, somebody like high profile, just like, let's say now, the issue of Sabally and stuff, everybody's talking about it. But the police could do away with not respecting the court granting an accused person bail, and nobody is talking about it. Everybody's silent about it. But you know what has happened? A precedent has been created. Because the police have tested the waters, and nothing has come out of it. Now, what they're doing further is to test the waters yet again. And now this is a high-profile person. This is Sabally. They're going to try to keep Sabally beyond the 72 constitutional hours limit and see what's going to come out of it. Is Sabally going to come out tomorrow and then we all stop talking about it? And then we don't talk about it again until Melville is arrested and detained for 72 hours. But until Fatou is detained again for 72 hours. So what they're doing is a bit like a carrot and stick stuff. They know the Gambia. They know how Gambians operate. Gambians are people that will come on, you know, with a loud bang, and 2 minutes after it fizzles out. But then they are continuing to entrench their tentacles into every fabric of the society. And before you know it, we are all doomed. And then it would be too. You see, when you cannot tame, if you have to tame a dog, a puppy, you do it when the dog is small and young. But when it grows old and has spread his tentacles and wings into every fabric of the society, there's nothing that you can do about it. Nothing that you can do about it. So now we're saying, okay, we're enjoying Gambia. It's a democratic country, or people are enjoying freedom of expression. People are talking. Nobody's dying. Nobody's killing. But you know what? That is not true. It starts from a little drop. And one day, soon, the bucket will fill up, and then it will start to spill. And when it starts to spill, then it will be disaster. But if every Gambian go out and demand that, because you know what? This is not Gambians acting outside the law. This is Gambians acting within the remit of the law. Every Gambian, every sympathizer, every person that believes in the rule of law should have been out demanding that Sabally and Sonko either be released or charged. Or taken before a court of competent jurisdiction. That is what will send a loud clarion message to the executive that Gambia is a serious country, and when the people say never again, it is a mantra that they believe in, it's a mantra that they live, and it's a mantra that they will not jeopardize or put aside or set aside for anyone. But it starts with now. And if we let this slide, and tomorrow they decide, okay, it's past 72 hours, they leave Sabally tomorrow, we go quiet. No, that constitutional, the unconstitutional detention of Sabally must be advocated for. The UDP must take it to the courts. The IGP must answer. The police must answer. They should show cause why Sabally was detained beyond the 72 hours constitutional limit. It shouldn't be left aside. A precedent must be set. And that is the only way you can have an effective dispensation. You can have a country that respects the rule of law, a country that would respect institutions, respect policies, and respect, by extension, the courts.
Thank you. You have said it all, Melvin. Thank you so much for this.
Welcome.
I will be doing an update tomorrow also based on what is going on. So once I'll definitely want to have you on again. We will have an update.
Yeah, but do not be surprised that they can release them today, because I was trying to calculate. I don't think the 72 hours has elapsed. When were they arrested?
Friday.
What time?
Friday at 4:30. They were calling at 4:30. They were there around 5:30. Yes, they told them to be there at 4:30. So they were there around that time, Friday.
Yeah, But I know I was reading a case. I don't know Sergio. I don't know if Sergio's still on, but maybe I was. It's a because sometimes there's a bit of a gray area as to when the detention actually takes place. Because you see, the police are very smart. Yeah. So remember, they said at first it was an invitation. Yes. Now, until they told them they cannot go, that is where the detention starts. Okay. Because I was looking at a Kenyan case where it was very similar. So the police invite them. Yeah. But let's say Sabally never said, "Oh, I want to go home, or I want to do something." So he's there at the invitation of the police voluntarily. Yeah. At his own volition. Now, until that moment when the police say to Sabally, "You cannot leave," that is where detention starts. Okay. And that is where the 72 hours constitutional mandate starts. But okay, if, for example, they called you for questioning, because I remember they called them and the panel was already seated there, according to what we know, and they spoke to them. They spoke to them around in the evening, and that was the last time they spoke to them, and they were told they are going to sleep there, and they slept. They were kept in the cell. So that means around that time, the detention has started, and that is already... Yes. Yes, so that was around, you know, so, yeah. Around this time. Yeah. Around this time. Yeah. Thereabout, yeah. Yeah. So that's when detention starts. Yeah. When their rights to movement was seized. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's see what happens here against the end of the day. Let's see what happens. But whatever happens, we will be back here to give updates as to what happened. I think, unfortunately, instead of talking about this arrest, we should be talking about our fallen soldiers and giving, praying for them and mourning as a nation, coming together and showing solidarity to the police and members of the law enforcement. But instead, we are also distracted. And hopefully, because as of now, we don't have any tangible, accurate information that we don't have an active shooter out there. We do not know. And that... We do not know. Now, that makes it more even scary. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mel. All right, then. Take care. Thank you so much. So I'm just going to... Thank you so much, Mel. So I'm just going to... Somebody said 72 hours of working hours. But is it working hours or is it just Alaji? That's my lawyer, though. That's the one who gives me all the... When I heard that Sabally and others will be charged for this, and I said, can you give me what this quotation says? What is the law on this one? And he will send me that. So that's my lawyer. So he's saying it has to be working hours. I don't know. Nene, do you have any update before I leave? Let me say, hey, Mr. Mane. Mr. Mane. Hello? Hello, Mr. Mane. Mr. Mane, do you have any update?
For the moment, no. I just left about 15 minutes ago. I'm just getting home to change. Yeah. When I was leaving, there was no update. Because apparently, amongst themselves, they are fighting. Someone to withdraw the case, someone to profile new charges. So,
so there's no update as we speak, right?
No, for the moment, no. I just came home quickly to change and go back. Okay. So for the moment, yes, we don't have any update. Okay. But I told them if there's any changes before I get back there to call me.
Wow. So who is the lawyer? Lamin is Bori Esture, right?
Bori Ture, yes.
And
Bori Ture is the lawyer. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So they have not, but they cannot file anything. It's already late because the courts are closed. So the lawyers also are not able to file anything because the courts are closed, right? Like I was saying, the lawyers also are not able to file any bail applications because courts are closed, right?
Yes, I believe so, because he went to negotiate with this because given the situation in the country right now with the vacation judges, yeah. If you want to file any petition with those people, it's going to take a very long time. Okay. So we went to negotiate directly with these people to have a release. So they promised that they were going to let go of those people today by 5 p.m. But apparently, the man they are still fighting. Some want to drop the charges, and some want to add even more charges so that they can start drafting and keep him overnight.
Wow.
Yeah. So because if they don't drive new charges, they just have to stop it and let him go today, and some don't want to let him go today. So they want to do it tomorrow.
Oh.
So apparently there is a fight there amongst themselves with the Maliman Bay.
Okay.
So, but I just came to change, and because I've been sitting there all this sweating and all, it's all sticky. So I just came to change, and I'm going back there.
Okay.
In about 20 minutes, I'll be out there again. I'm leaving again to go back.
To go back. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr.
Any update before
Yes.
To call me.
Yeah.
And if they do, I'll let you know.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Man. Thank you.
Not at all. Not at all.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
So, guys, this is it. I'm going to wrap up now. This is it. They're still in custody, and the police have not come back as to what is happening. So hopefully before the end of the day we get any updates. It's 7:18 right now in the Gambia, and hopefully today or tomorrow. But whatever update we get, we'll be back here to update you. Sometimes it's good to have this conversation directly instead of just writing and to explain to people. But I think Mel was spot on. We need to start respecting our laws, for the judge or magistrate to give a ruling and the drug law enforcement arrest those people that were bailed, those things. And it's not about the people, it's about the system. Some of us don't even know these people. I don't even know who Pablo, never heard of his name until this case. But the fact that the judge, two judges in a row, granted him bail because they feel like his rights, that he's within their rights, for that to be violated by a government official, that is serious. And I think nobody should be quiet about that. So I think, and also with the case of Sabally and others, if the 72 hours, I don't know, those people who know the law will tell us. Some are saying it's clocks now. As far as I'm concerned, they were arrested and they were taken into custody on Friday. Today is Monday, so it's already 72 hours. If it goes beyond 72 hours, what is it? Is it violating their rights? What is it? So we will get back to you once we get any update. Thank you all for watching. And to all of you who sent us stars, I don't remember everybody, but I do remember Yunus Haidara. I remember Natamas. Actually, Natamas sent us stars today. Afamborawa. Thank you for the stars. I also remember Farmata Sise Maitoma. I see Nanding sending us stars. CB, one Lamin Bojang, Lamin Dabo, Usman, and a lot of you sent us a lot of stars. Thank you very much. We appreciate that because those stars turn into cash for the network, and it helps us to grow the network and be able to bring you programs and more programs like this. Thank you very much for always watching and sharing. We will be back again once we get any update as to what really is happening with Sabally and Sabally and Sherrifo Sonko. So until we come back again, I want to thank you all for watching, and hopefully we're able to see you again. Thank you. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be back to give you a break. Thank you. Hey, Auntie Chile. Auntie Chile, how are you, Auntie Chile? Usman, thank you for this. We appreciate. Thank you so much, Usman. Thanks for the stars. Thank you, Seiture. Thank you so much.